Chapter 2162. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. During this time, Xiaoping was immersed in learning all kinds of secret techniques of the illusion race. He enjoyed himself so much that he forgot to stop. His cultivation didn't need to work hard on it, so it naturally increased. It was like water flowing into a canal. In fact, when one reached this level of martial arts, even if he did not actively train, the techniques in his body would automatically run, achieving the effect of yin and yang merging. If someone saw Xiaoping now, they would find that Xiaoping's aura had no edges and had become round. He had reached the realm of returning to the natural state, just like a mortal. This meant that he had completely mastered his surging magic power and divine sense perfectly. Not a single trace of his aura leaked out from his body. No one knew that his body contained a surging, violent energy. Once it exploded, it would be earth-shattering. During this time, the tree race elder Rich still could not find the existence of the tree world, so Xiaoping stayed in the illusion peacefully, and no one disturbed him. But at this time, Emma came to him personally. "Barty, your matter has been settled. After the family leader personally intervened, the magic race elder has decided to give you a chance to become a treasure house guard," Emma said to Xiaoping. She indicated that the family leader, Sophia, was very satisfied with Xiaoping's plan because this matter allowed her to gather enough money, and she did not need to care about the other saints, which allowed her to save face. Therefore, Sophia felt that Xiaoping had done a good job and focused on training him, so she agreed to Xiaoping's request. "A chance? What does that mean?" Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He felt that there might be a twist in this matter. "What are you looking at? It is good to have a chance. After all, this position is a treasure house guard, and the inspection is very strict, and there is a high requirement for strength. If you do not have enough strength, you cannot become a guard," Emma said angrily. "To be honest, with your strength in the returning true realm, you do not have much of a chance, but with the family leader's efforts and with a lot of contributions, the people over there have agreed to give you a chance. If you pass the trial announced by the treasury guards this time, then you will truly be able to obtain this position." Although that was what she said, she also felt embarrassed. Originally, this matter was in the bag, but now there was a change, because there was someone who didn't want Xiaoping to get this position. However, this was a secret, and he couldn't say it out loud. "Trial? What kind of trial is it?" Xiaoping asked. He was speechless. This group of people was really unreliable. The saint personally told them to go through some bullsh *T trial. They really didn't give the saint any face. However, this opportunity wasn't bad either. Even if he needed this trial, it didn't matter. With his strength, there was no trial that he couldn't pass. "Hunting demons," Emma said in a low voice. She said that the illusion race controlled one of the demon channels in the abyss. That place had become a training ground for many illusion race warriors. It was a training ground for martial arts mystiques, and this trial was for those who wanted to compete for the treasure house guard to participate together. As long as they could kill 10 returning nature realm demons or 1 transcendence realm demon, they would pass the trial. This also proved that they had the strength to become a treasure house guard. "So that's how it is. Then I understand. When will this trial begin?" Xiaoping asked. "Tomorrow. Gather in front of the mission hall. There are many people participating. Be careful." Emma said the time and place. It was to gather in front of the mission hall. It seemed that an illusion race elder would be the chief examiner. "Okay, I understand." Xiaoping nodded. The next day, Xiaoping went directly to a plaza in front of the mission hall. Suddenly, he saw many illusion race warriors in the plaza. There were men and women, and they stood together neatly. And these people's cultivation was at least in the returning nature realm. Most were in the transcendence realm. There were no Thunder Calamity realm cultivators. After all, after reaching the Thunder Calamity realm, there was no need to be a treasure house guard. They could go to any universe secret realm and take countless treasures back. There was no need to work so hard. This is Chris." All of a sudden, Xiaoping spotted a familiar figure in the crowd. It was Barty's archenemy, Chris. In the time that he had not seen this brat, it seemed that his cultivation had increased greatly. His aura was astonishing. and his cultivation had advanced to the returning truth realm, which was already on par with the Barty that Xia Ping had impersonated. Oomph. Chris obviously noticed Xia Ping's gaze. After he reached the returning nature realm, his face was arrogant. He seemed to be looking down on Xia Ping, saying that he would not lose to anyone. Many people also looked over, obviously noticing Xia Ping. This kid is the Barty that caused a lot of commotion recently. It is said that this kid swindled a few billion and won the bet with Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob, causing Elder Jacob to become a pauper. He must have gone mad from anger. That's right. No way. This kid is so powerful. Doesn't that mean he has a lot of money? If he is so rich, why is he fighting with us for the treasure house guard position? Who says they have too much money? This kid probably has his eyes on this position and wants to get some benefits. No matter what, this is a lucrative job. More money, less work. Indeed, some nobles know that it is very difficult to get this position. No matter how many connections they pull, it is useless. Oof. This kid just reached the returning nature realm. This trial is very difficult. We need to kill demons. This guy is not a big threat. There's nothing to fear. Indeed, that's indeed the case. Who knows, if a bunch of fiendish demons charge at him, this kid will be dead. It's good that he is dead. Maybe we can get a share of the treasures he left behind. Everyone discussed animatedly. The way they looked at Xia Ping was very strange and sinister. Their faces were full of malicious intent. If there was a chance, they would not mind killing and robbing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just then, 3 figures flew over from afar. They emitted the powerful aura of the Thunder Calamity realm. They suppressed the void and descended in front of everyone. Everyone quieted down. Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He immediately recognized the 3 people in charge of this trial mission. One of them was his archenemy, the person he had offended, the Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob. He immediately felt a sense of threat. This trial mission might be a big conspiracy. These people did not come with good intentions. No matter how he looked at it, he seemed to have barged into a tiger's den. Please remember this book's domain name. Third Sect Leaders Mobile Version. Chapter 2163. However, Xia Ping was bold and fearless. He was not afraid of such things. If it was the real Barty, he would have been dead by now. At that moment, Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob said, "All of you are here to apply for the position of Treasury Guard. The requirements for this position are very high. First of all, you must be strong. If you don't have extremely strong combat power, you can only dream of becoming a Treasury Guard. I, Jacob, am one of the chief examiners of this assessment. I am impartial and impartial. Anyone who wants to go through the back door, those idiots who can only rely on their connections to get this opportunity, or those good-for-nothings who want to fish in troubled waters in front of me, will not be able to do so. Remember them all." He glanced at Xia Ping, and a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Of course, on the surface, he was still an impartial examiner and would not bend the law for personal gain. Chris, who was in the crowd, also sneered. He looked at Xia Ping as if he was looking at a dead man. "All right, I won't say much." Jacob continued. "This time, your assessment location is in the Abyss continent. You must clear a sufficient number of abyssal demons to complete the task and pass the assessment. If you can't clear a sufficient number, then it proves that you are not strong enough to take up the position of Treasury Guard. That means you have failed the assessment. But I have to remind you that the assessment to enter the Abyss world this time is not child's play. Those abyssal demons are extremely powerful, evil, and cruel. If you let your guard down, you will die inside, and no one can save you. Oh, right, who wants to quit? It's not too late to do so now." When the thousands of illusion clansmen heard this, their faces showed pride. Since they were able to compete for the position of Treasury Guard, they naturally knew the content of this assessment. If they were not strong enough, they would have given up long ago. Although this assessment seemed very difficult, as long as they were careful with their strength, they could easily complete it. It was not a mission with 9 out of 10 chances of survival. "Supervisor." At this time, Xia Ping stood up and said, "I suddenly feel a little uncomfortable. Can I apply to take the assessment again next time?" "What?" Hearing this, the surrounding people looked at him with disdain. Could it be that this kid was afraid of failing the assessment so he wanted to retreat? As expected, he was a gutless bandit. He did not have any courage. Bullsh asterisk T, take the test next time? Can you ask your mother to give birth to you later? This has already been decided. How can she change the test date just because of you? Who do you think you are? Even if your father is a saint, he can't change this. Jacob sneered. He could tell at a glance that this brat was timid. Knowing that he had become an examiner, he wanted to retreat. Perhaps he knew that he would harm him during the examination, so he wanted to withdraw from the examination. But how could he let this kid do this? If he really withdrew from the assessment, he didn't know how long it would take for him to find a chance to take revenge. If that's the case, I'll give up. Xiaoping still wanted to say something. But before Xiaoping could say anything, Jacob immediately said, "All right, let's cut to the chase. Since you've all agreed to participate in the test, you can teleport to the Abyss continent now. We've already activated the teleportation array. Everyone just stand still." He had no intention of saying any words of rejection to Xiaoping. You've already boarded the pirate ship, and you still want to escape? Do you think it's that easy? Stop your wishful thinking. Rumble, in an instant, a huge teleportation array on the square vibrated and bloomed with dazzling light. It was like a sky full of stars, connecting to the Abyss world. The space changed, and everyone present was teleported out of the square. In the next second, they immediately appeared in a pitch-black, gloomy world where they couldn't even see their own fingers. This Abyss world was filled with a dark aura, flowing with abyssal, corrosive, cursed, evil, and other energies. From time to time, angry roars of demons could be heard from afar. All the people of the illusion race instinctively felt waves of fear. This was not a place suitable for ordinary people to stay in. There would be terrifying abyssal demon energy eroding their bodies at all times. If it wasn't for completing the assessment mission, they would definitely not be willing to come to this damn place. It really is the Abyss world. The illusion race actually found a teleportation array that connects to the Abyss world. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Sir Examiner, how can we return to the illusion world after completing the mission? Someone asked. That's simple. All of you have a mysterious imprint left behind by the illusion race. As long as you activate this imprint, you can immediately break through the space and pull you back to the illusion world. Jacob opened his mouth and said, "Of course, if you want to activate this imprint, you must be in an absolutely safe place. If you're in the middle of a battle, you can't activate it. Even if you forcefully activate it, it will be destroyed. Everyone must remember this." Everyone nodded. They indeed saw a mysterious imprint similar to the swastika symbol appear on their wrists. It seemed to contain a tyrannical energy that could connect to the illusion world. All right, stop talking nonsense. You can leave now and quickly complete the mission. This assessment mission only has 10 days. After this time, it will be considered a failure regardless of whether you kill enough demons or not. Jacob said in a low voice. His eyes revealed a trace of coldness. Yes, when everyone heard this, they all felt a sense of urgency. They felt that they couldn't waste any more time in this place. They all flew in all directions, wanting to find enough demons to kill. Xiaoping also wanted to choose a direction to leave in. But before he moved, Jacob and the other 3 Lightning Tribulation Realm examiners, as well as a dozen returning Truth Realm and Transcendence Realm cultivators, immediately surrounded him. When the others saw this, they didn't dare to care at all. Instead, they ran as fast as they could. They knew that if they were involved in this matter, they would definitely be killed. In just a few breaths' time, this group of unrelated people disappeared from this place. Only Xiaoping, Jacob, Carrie, and the others were left. In an instant, this place was filled with murderous intent. The cold wind rustled, and everything was silent. Elder Jacob, what do you want to do? Xiaoping looked at the group of people surrounding him and said calmly, "Do you want to harm me? Do you know the rules of the illusion race? If you kill each other, you won't gain anything. Don't make a mistake. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version, Chapter 2164. Someone to rely on? You make it sound like I don't have anyone to rely on." Hearing this, Jacob laughed. "It's fine if you offended me before. You have Patriarch Lawrence to rely on, so I really couldn't do anything to you for a while. I can only tuck my tail between my legs in front of you and don't dare to retaliate. But of all the things you should never have done, you actually offended Saint Minerva, causing his plan to fail. You made him so furious that he wanted nothing more than to tear you into pieces and dismember you. Do you understand? He was very arrogant and happy. Originally, with Saint Sophia's support, he didn't dare to act rashly. He was afraid of offending Sophia and being slapped to death. The anger of a saint was not something he could handle. But it was different now. He had Saint Minerva's support, so his guts were boundless. This trial mission was a trap to kill this kid. If he could complete this mission, not only would he be able to take his revenge, but he would also be able to earn the recognition of Saint Minerva and soar to the heavens from then on. Saint Minerva? How did I offend him? I just said a few words to his face, and he's so angry. Are all saints so petty? So petty? Xiao Ping raised his eyebrows. Shut up. Do you think you can slander Patriarch Minerva's reputation? You won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Just those words alone are enough to kill you 10 times over. Carrie jumped out and angrily scolded Xiao Ping. Minerva was the elder patriarch of the Rinster family. He had a high status and was like a god. This bastard dared to slander the elder patriarch and call him petty. He didn't know what was good for him. He wanted to tear this kid to pieces. He really didn't know how to repent even at death's door. This isn't slander, it's the truth. Who doesn't know that Minerva is petty? Xiao Ping said indifferently. You still dare to be so arrogant? Do you want to die now? Carrie was furious and flew into a rage. Carrie, don't worry. This kid will die sooner or later. He's right. We illusion people can't kill each other. This is the rule. Even saints can't break it. Jacob waved his hand, stopping Chris. He then looked at Xiao Ping and said darkly, I won't kill you myself, in case someone finds out and maliciously attacks you. So, you expose your own aura and acted as bait in this place to attract the Abyss demons and help Kelly complete his mission. It's not like you can't live. Of course, you can't refuse even if you want to. This is an order. Even if you're unwilling, we'll do it ourselves. We'll control your body and make you the bait. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. In the Abyss world, there were countless demons and dangers everywhere. If he exposed his aura would be as dazzling as the sun in the ghostly Abyss world. Once this information was leaked, countless abyssal demons would rush over like moths to a flame. They would tear this person to shreds and kill him. Therefore, many cultivators who entered the Abyss world to train were very careful. They concealed their aura for fear of being discovered by those Abyss demons. This was the only way to survive. If anyone dared to release their aura unscrupulously in the Abyss world, they would be courting death, and it was purely because they had lived for too long. And now, Jacob wanted Xiao Ping to release his aura so that Xiao Ping would seek his own death. This way, the ones who killed Xiao Ping would not be them, but the Abyss demons. No matter what happened in the future, they would be able to extricate themselves from this matter. No one would be able to catch them. And they could also use this opportunity to attract a large number of Abyss demons and help Kelly and the others kill the demons and complete their mission. This was a plan that killed many birds with one stone. That's right. Immediately release your aura and act as bait for us to attract those stupid Abyss demons. Otherwise, I'll make you cry rhythmically. Do you understand? Kelly smiled sinisterly. He was very proud of himself, as though he had Xiao Ping in his grasp. Ridiculous. You think you can kill me with this group of people? It's not like I don't have any tricks up my sleeves. With a boom, Xiao Ping took out a talisman in an instant. And this talisman was the one that Sophia had given him to protect himself. At the same time, it was a talisman to monitor him. Without saying anything, he immediately activated the talisman and threw it towards this group of people. This talisman released endless golden light. It contained terrifying power that tore through everything and pierced through the void. Saint-grade talisman? Just as Saint Minerva expected, you do indeed have a talisman bestowed upon you by Saint Sophia. This is something that we have already expected. Jacob was calm and composed. That's right. You think you're the only one with a saint-grade talisman, and we don't? Break. Turtle shell talisman. Kelly shouted angrily, and took out a blue talisman from his body. Boom! Suddenly, this blue talisman expanded with the wind, instantly turning into a huge blue turtle shell. It was incomparably thick, and it connected to the earth element power in the depths of the dimension. Layer upon layer, densely packed, it enveloped everyone. Bang, bang, bang. Beams of golden light bombarded the blue turtle shell, causing banging sounds to ring out. However, not a single beam of golden light was able to pierce through the blue turtle shell. The person inside was also unharmed. Stupid Barty. You don't have a saint-grade talisman now, right? Let's see how you die this time. Kelly was very proud, thinking that victory was already in his grasp. He felt that with a saint-grade talisman in hand, he could even exchange a few blows with the Tribulation Realm powerhouse. Barty, surrender now. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead, Jacob shouted. Jacob shouted. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and a murderous aura surged. You want to make me wish I was dead? I'll let you have the ability first. I'm not going to play with you this time. Sooner or later, we'll settle the score. Just you wait. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiaoping immediately used a magic of the illusory tribe. Infinite Void, 3,000 clones. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, 3,000 clones of Xiaoping appeared within a radius of 1,000 kilometers. They were densely packed, covering the entire area. Every single one of them emitted a condensed aura that was extremely real. What's going on? Why are there so many Bartys all of a sudden? There are 3,000 of them. Are you kidding me? Kelly was stunned. He didn't expect something like this to happen. For what he could sense, these Bartys seemed to be real. There was nothing strange about them. Impossible. This is our illusory tribe's strongest escape magic. Infinite Void, 3,000 clones. I wanted to learn it before, but I couldn't. I don't have a talent. Even in the entire illusory tribe, only a few can learn this magic. How did you learn it, kid? How is this possible? I don't believe it. When Jacob and the other Tribulation Realm powerhouses saw this, they immediately screamed. They couldn't believe it at all. They recognized this magic, Infinite Void, 3,000 clones. Their eyes immediately turned green with jealousy. Chapter 2165. Just you wait. I will come back for revenge. After Xiaoping said this, he immediately left. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3,000 clones flew off in all directions, merging into the depths of space. Their speed was unbelievably fast. Everyone could only watch helplessly. These were 3,000 clones, and every one of them was real. They only had a dozen people at most. How could they catch up to 3,000 clones? It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Damn it. Jacob was so angry that he almost died. He had thought that this plan was in the bag, but he did not expect such an unforeseen event to occur. This kid had actually learned the 3,000 infinite Great Void clones. This secret technique was extremely powerful. Once learned, even a Retribution Realm cultivator would not be able to see through it. Maybe if he had some time, he would be able to see through it. After all, his opponent was only a Restoration Realm cultivator. The problem was that not only was it hard to tell the real from the fake, but it was also extremely fast and contained the power of space. Therefore, his opponent did not give him the time to do so. This was why this technique was so powerful. Not only was it hard to tell the real from the fake, but it also had many clones and was extremely fast. When the two were combined, it was practically invincible and impossible to stop. It was known as the #1 escaping technique of the magic. However, the difficulty of cultivating it was also extremely high. In the entire history of the illusion race, there were only a handful of people who were able to perfectly learn this mystic art. In fact, they could be counted on one hand. It's over. It's all over. We let this kid escape and ruin the Elder's plan. What should we do? Everyone's faces were green. They were helpless. If they could not complete the Elder's mission, they would all be heavily punished. Chris and Jacob's faces were also pale. They had no idea what to do. They never thought Barty would have a technique like this. A technique like this. Damn it. That despicable Barty. I didn't think he was so shrewd. After learning this technique, he was still so low-key. I've been tricked. Chris looked up to the sky and howled. He felt extremely humiliated. He thought that Barty had pretended to be useless and let him bully him. In reality, he despised him and mocked him countless times. When he thought about how he had been mocked and mocked for such a long time, and how he had been toyed with like a fool, he was so angry that his pride couldn't accept it at all. A bunch of trash. You can't even handle such a small matter. At that moment, a voice came from the depths of the void, reverberating through the void and reaching the depths of Jacob and the others' consciousness. Saint Minerva. Hearing this, Jacob and the others were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground, trembling uncontrollably. They had not expected Saint Minerva to still be following them and monitoring them at all times. I'm sorry, Saint Minerva. We're useless and incompetent. Jacob and the others knelt down and begged for mercy, not daring to make any excuses. Forget it. I can't blame you for this. I didn't expect this little bastard to be able to learn the 3,000 clones of the infinite void. This kind of talent is top-notch even in the history of the illusory tribe. With this kind of talent, and even offending me, Minerva, there's no way he can live. Minerva's voice was filled with murderous intent. But I can't do it myself, or I'll be breaking the rules and will be punished by the Council of Elders. So, I'll only do it once. Judging from his words, he was still quite fearful of the Council of Elders of the illusory tribe and did not dare to disobey them. I've already left an aura lock on that kid. Follow this aura and chase after him. Even if he uses the 3,000 clones of the infinite void later, he won't be able to hide from you. This time, you must kill him. Otherwise, don't come back. Minerva was filled with murderous intent. Yes, Saint Minerva. Jacob and the others knelt down and thanked him. With a boom, a golden light shot out from the depths of the void and landed on Jacob's hand. Then, the vortex in the depths of the void quickly disappeared as if it had never been there. Chase after him and kill that kid. After obtaining the golden talisman, Jacob was filled with murderous intent as he gritted his teeth. Yes, Cree and the others said angrily. This time, they had completely infuriated Saint Minerva and made him furious. If they still could not complete the mission, they would die without a doubt. Without a doubt, this time if they did not die, it would be that kid. At this moment, in Lawrence Castle, Saint Sophia and Emma were together. Master, this trial mission is a trap. Barty will die without a doubt. Why do you still want him to go? Emma looked at Saint Sophia with a puzzled expression. Don't you know the reason? Sophia said calmly, looking at Emma. Because he offended Minerva? Incurred the wrath of Saint Minerva? But it's also because of you, Lord Family Head, that this happened. Emma said, yes, this happened because of me. But so what? Minerva's wrath needs to be appeased, and this kid's life is a good price to pay. Sophia said mercilessly, but he helped you, Master. Emma could not understand it all. Yes, he helped me, and I'm very grateful. But he offended Minerva and incurred the wrath of the saint. This is his fault, Sophia said calmly. Sophia said calmly, he is a very talented person and very smart. However, people who are too smart always die very quickly because they know too much. No one can control them. Emma did not know what to say. All right, Emma, there is no need to say such things. Since it has already happened, there is no turning back. That kid is already dead. I have already sensed that a talisman I gave him has disappeared. He was probably besieged and had no choice but to use this talisman. Sophia's eyes flashed as if she had sensed something. But because the abyss world was too far away, she could only sense that the talisman that had a mental connection with her had disappeared. She did not know what had happened in the abyss world. But what if Barty is not dead? Emma asked unwillingly. If he is not dead, it means that the kid is not fated to die. Even Minerva's scheme could not kill him, so he naturally has the right to live. Sophia's expression was very calm. But this way, our relationship with him will become hostile. Emma said, hostile? Hearing this, Sophia suddenly laughed very loudly. I am a saint, and that kid is just an ant in the returning truth realm. So what if we become hostile? Will he bite me? A chess piece will always be a chess piece. It will never be able to resist the player. So be it. This matter ends here. There is no need to discuss it anymore. Yes, Master. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 2166. Whoosh. At that moment, Xiaoping had traveled thousands of kilometers and landed on top of a dark mountain. He also sensed that Chris and the others were still chasing after him, and they were not giving up. Of course, he also knew that he had a saint's will engraved on him. He could use his own strength to get rid of the will, but that would alert Saint Minerva and expose his identity. There was no need to do that. In fact, he had sensed Saint Minerva's aura hidden in the depths of the void from the very beginning. Therefore, he did not plan to kill Chris and the others. Instead, he chose to escape. Xiaoping even pretended to be defeated and used up the talisman Sophia gave him to get rid of Sophia's surveillance. It was a plan that killed many birds with one stone. However, he had to admit that Sophia was really ruthless. He had done her a great favor, but she abandoned him just like that, making him a target for Minerva to vent her anger on. As expected, none of the illusory tribe's saints were trustworthy. They were all cruel and selfish people. Fortunately, Xiaoping did not have any expectations for such a life from the beginning. The only thing he could rely on in this world was himself, and that was the most reliable thing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At that moment, Jacob, Chris, and the others finally caught up and surrounded Xiaoping in an instant. There was no space for him to escape. Kid, you can run. You're pretty good at running. Let me see if you can run again. Chris roared and glared at Xiaoping with murderous intent. Because of this brat, they had been severely scolded by Saint Minerva, causing them to lose all face. Right now, he wanted nothing more than to kill this brat 8 to 10 times over. Barty, you didn't expect this, did you? You've learned the 3,000 Great Void Clones. It's indeed the most powerful escape technique. If we didn't have some skills, you really would have gotten away. Jacob sneered, but it's different now. We've seen through all of your movements. No matter how crafty you are, you can't escape from our grasp. You should just give up on that thought. His murderous intent towards Xiaoping was getting stronger. If he had only been angry at the fact that the kid before him had humiliated him, turned him into a pauper, and caused him to lose all of his dignity, it was completely different after witnessing the kid's 3,000 infinite cosmos clones. He immediately listed this brat as the greatest enemy of his life. In time, this brat's achievements would definitely surpass him. If this bastard continued to grow, then he, Jacob, would not be a match for him at all. He might even be surpassed by his latecomer. He could only watch as this kid ate the dust behind him. He would never be able to catch up. Such a mortal enemy naturally needed to be eradicated immediately. What's the point? There's no deep hatred between us. If we stop here, it's not like there's no room for reconciliation between us. I won't bother you anymore. What do you think? Xiaoping sighed and stood with his hands behind his back. No deep hatred. You're F***king kidding me. Jacob shouted. After losing the bet with you, I ate a ton of sh*t and became the laughingstock of the illusion race. Do you know how much humiliation I've suffered? I've lost all my face in this life, and you still dare to say there's no deep hatred between us? If I want you to die, it won't be a pity even if you die 10 times. Do you understand? His eyes were filled with endless hatred. When he thought of what happened that day, he almost vomited. Chris and the others looked at Jacob with pity. It was as if they could see the tears at the corner of his eyes. As a Thunder Retribution Realm expert, he was forced to eat a ton of sh*t. They never thought that such a thing would happen. It was no wonder that Jacob hated Barty to the bone. It wasn't without reason. If they encountered such a thing, they probably wouldn't want to continue living. So that's how it is. Then I understand. There's no room for reconciliation between us. It's either you die or I live. Xiaoping nodded, indicating that he understood. Wrong. It's you who dies and I who lives. That's your ending. Jacob sneered. But before he could finish his sentence, his hair suddenly stood on end. He felt a great danger, because at this time, Xiaoping directly attacked. He didn't use any magic or secret technique. It was just an ordinary punch, but made Jacob's hair stand on end. He felt that this punch seemed to transcend space, blurring his six senses. It looked slow, but it was unbelievably fast. No, Jacob tried to defend, but all he could do was shout out, and the fist came flying over. It was filled with a boundless killing intent and a terrifying fist force that permeated through the void. Jacob didn't know what happened. His body was hit hard, and his whole body was crushed. Even his primordial spirit was completely destroyed, turning into a bloody mist. Jacob dead. This is a joke, right? Elder Jacob is dead. He was killed by a punch, just like that. What happened just now? Carrie and the others were dumbfounded. They were completely dumbfounded. Their brains had already lost their ability to think. They were at a complete loss. According to their thinking, Jacob should have captured Barty and beaten the kid to a pulp, torturing him so viciously that he almost didn't look human anymore. That was the normal development. But what was going on? This kid just punched, and Elder Jacob's body was crushed, turning him into a bloody mist. He couldn't even struggle. Damn it. Impossible. You can't beat Barty. Who the hell are you? Another lightning tribulation realm elder screamed with all his might. Jacob is a lightning tribulation realm expert. Even cultivators at the same level as him can't kill him with a single punch and turn him into ashes. The real Barty definitely can't have this kind of strength. Even if he ascended to heaven, he can't improve by leaps and bounds. Who the hell are you? Why are you pretending to be Barty? A fake Barty? Hearing this, Carrie and the others immediately felt their hair stand on end. They also thought of all the inharmonious feelings they had before. If this person in front of them wasn't the real Barty, but a fake, then everything would make sense. But if that was the case, it would be even more terrifying. Because of the illusion's proud inspection system, there had never been an invasion since ancient times. Now, someone had infiltrated the illusion realm without them noticing. This was more terrifying than anything else. It meant that the illusion's lair had been discovered by an outsider. If this news was leaked, it would be a disaster for the illusion. Retreat. Retreat immediately. Report to the old ancestor. Tell him there's an enemy invasion. An enemy invasion. Even if we die, we have to spread this news. Another Thunder Retribution Realm elder also roared, telling everyone to retreat. He hoped to spread this news and alert the illusion race's upper echelons to eliminate this damned spy. Chapter 2167. However, just as this Thunder Retribution Realm elder shouted, Xia Ping rushed over and punched again. Dong! This was like the rumble of a war drum. His body couldn't withstand it at all. Even the armor on his body was penetrated by the terrifying fist energy, shattering on the spot and exploding like fireworks. With just a single punch, the elder was killed without being able to resist at all. Large amounts of blood poured down, dyeing the ground red. This scene instantly scared the wits out of Chris and the others. If they hadn't reacted earlier, then they had now seen this scene clearly, no matter how big or small it was. The dead elder was even more terrifying than Jacob in terms of combat strength, but he was still no match for Xia Ping. He was killed with a single punch, as easy as chopping vegetables. If this punch had been used against them, they probably wouldn't have fared much better. They would have been killed directly, without even leaving a corpse. Barty, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please spare my life. I don't know anything. It was all because of the old ancestor. Please spare me this time. In the future, I will definitely turn over a new leaf and not repeat the same mistakes. Carrie begged for mercy, extremely terrified. At this time, he didn't care whether this person in front of him was the real Barty or not. In any case, he only cared if he could survive. In fact, the more he knew at this time, the faster he would die. Turn over a new leaf? No need. Just turn over a new leaf in your next life. Hearing this, Xia Ping shook his head. If an apology could solve all problems, then what was the point of having the police? He didn't hold back and punched again. Immediately, Carrie and the other examinees didn't even have time to scream. The fist energy swept past them, and their bodies shattered like glass, turning them into countless pieces. With their strength, they couldn't even withstand the wind from Xia Ping's fist. Just a sweep of it was enough to shake them to death. In the distance, the mountains couldn't withstand the wind from the fist and collapsed one after another. Some mountains that were tens of thousands of meters tall were even smashed in half, directly disappearing into thin air. The wind from the fist forcefully carved out a path that spanned thousands of kilometers on the ground. Cracking sounds rang out as countless rocks were shaken into powder. "Bastard! Even if I die, I won't let you go." The remaining Thunder Retribution Realm Elder shouted angrily. His expression was ferocious. He seemed to know that he couldn't escape the fate of death, so he actually became bold. A terrifying destructive force surged out from his body. He was actually going to self-destruct on the spot. Can't stop it. Xiaoping's figure flashed because this person's self-destruction was too decisive. He couldn't stop it at all. He immediately used his divine ability and fled 500 kilometers away to avoid the self-destruction of this lightning tribulation eminence. Rumble. In an instant, everything within a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers was flattened. Mountains were blasted into dust, and a black mushroom cloud rose into the air, covering 1,000,000 kilometers. Terrifying, destructive fluctuations spread out layer by layer. It was like a planet exploding, sweeping through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. This kind of radiance was like the birth of the sun, penetrating millions of kilometers. Such a light was incomparably dazzling in the darkness of the abyss world. It was like a lighthouse in the darkness, tearing apart the thick darkness and pointing out the direction for the other abyss demons. "He's actually finding trouble for me, even after death." Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and walked out from the depths of the void. He hid in the space of the mountain river pearl, avoiding most of the destructive fluctuations of magic power. This lightning tribulation eminence's self-destruction couldn't harm him at all. This person was also completely dead. His essence spirit was destroyed, and there was no sign of life. The problem was that this had completely alarmed all the abyss demons within a radius of millions of kilometers. He could sense countless abyss demons flying over from afar. They were surging over like an ocean. Clearly, this was the lightning tribulation elder's goal. Even if he couldn't kill Xiaoping with his self-detonation, the destructive fluctuations would still attract the attention of other powerful abyssal demons. Those abyssal demons would then surround and kill Xiaoping. This person's plan was also very successful. The power of the lightning tribulation eminence's self-destruction attracted the attention of countless abyss demon armies. Just within the range of Xiaoping's divine sense, there were hundreds of millions of abyss demons surrounding him. Xiaoping stood at the center of the explosion. His qi and blood were vigorous, and like the sun, he guided the direction for all the abyss demons. They were like moths flying into a flame. He was bold because of his skill, and he had no intention of escaping. Kiki, humans. There are indeed humans in this place. I sense it just now. Such rich and hot yang qi can only be possessed by human almighties. This kind of qi and blood makes me very excited. If I can devour one, my cultivation will definitely increase greatly. He's over there. The human didn't run. He's still in front. Arrogant. Human, you are very arrogant. You actually dare to fight in the abyss world. Are you looking down on us? Looks like this human strength isn't simple either. What's there to be afraid of? We have many abyss demons. We can drown him with just a mouthful of saliva. Numerous abyss demons charged over. There were many types of abyss demons. There were oxhorn demons, goathorn demons, bat demons, blood-sucking demons, heavenly demons, and so on. There were simply countless types. They rode demonic winds, forming a terrifying dark tide. They covered the sky and covered the earth as they charged over. The surrounding void was filled with a terrifying, murderous aura. It was simply chilling. Without a doubt, this was an army of abyss demons. Moreover, they were well-trained and orderly. They seemed to have been guided by an expert. They didn't have the scattered troops that Xiaoping had encountered in the abyss world. The combined strength of these abyss demons was more than 10 times stronger than those scattered troops. Interesting. Let's try the illusion race's mind secret technique. Xiaoping had an idea and formed a seal with both hands. Illusion race's mystique, limitless nightmare technique. Rumble. In an instant, with Xiaoping's body as the center, a powerful mind wave silently seeped out. It was like a huge mind boundary of nothingness, spreading over a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. In just a breath's time, this huge mind boundary shrouded the entire area, causing this army of abyss demons to fall into the nightmare world in an instant. Even heavenly demons couldn't resist such a mystique secret technique. In an instant, these abyss demons fell into the limitless hell world. They couldn't differentiate reality from illusion at all. They killed each other. There was no need for Xiaoping to do anything. These abyss demons engaged in a life and death battle with each other. They treated each other as their most hated enemy. A large number of abyss demons died rapidly, as expected of the illusion race's mystique secret technique. Such a mystique is simply terrifying, especially against those living creatures with weaker mind power. It's simply a killing machine. With just a thought, countless living creatures could fall into the nightmare world, unable to extricate themselves. Xiaoping was very satisfied with the power of this mystique secret technique. He didn't even need to do anything, and these abyss demons killed each other. It saved him a lot of effort. Stop, human. How dare you use such a sneaky move to kill my demon race army? You are courting death. At this moment, there was a roar from afar. Chapter 2168. Boom! Just as he finished speaking, a terrifying wave of abyss demon chi surged out from the depths of the void. A huge vortex appeared, and the terrifying abyss demon chi transformed into a huge demon hand that grabbed down. Dong! Just one palm strike, and the nightmare barrier that enveloped the land was immediately shattered. Terrifying energy waves shook the surroundings, creating a buzzing sound and countless ripples. A huge palm print appeared on the ground, imprinted in the void. It was thousands of kilometers long, and the entire land was covered in dense cracks. It was a terrifying scene. However, because of the delay, even though this expert had suddenly appeared to stop Xiaoping's boundless nightmare art, more than half of the Abyss Demon Army had died, and the Demon Army had suffered heavy losses. Whoosh! At this time, a tall middle-aged man in a black battle robe with bull horns on his head walked out from the depths of the void. He stared at Xiaoping viciously. Human from the illusion race, why did you attack my demon army? Have you forgotten the alliance between the illusion race and the Abyss race? Are you planning to break the Abyss alliance? His tone was filled with terrifying anger, like a supervolcano that could erupt at any time. Because more than half of the demon army had died, his army had suffered heavy losses. This middle-aged man's aura was very powerful. He was an immortal-level demon, and his entire body contained the aura of immortality. Abyss Alliance? What Abyss Alliance? Hearing this, Xiaoping was stunned. Generally speaking, the Abyss Demon Army would fight and kill when they encountered the living beings of the various races. They would never show mercy, and they would never ask for the reason. But now he was asking about the Abyss Alliance. Did he misunderstand that he was a sage from the illusion race? But if that was the case, the problem was huge. Could it be that the illusion race had signed some kind of agreement with the Abyss Demon Army? Otherwise, this Abyss Demon Army would not say such a thing. Of course, he could not rule out the possibility that this Abyss Demon Army was lying. You don't seem to know about this. Are you a disciple of the illusion race who just advanced to the immortal realm? Or are you not from the illusion race at all? The black-robed, middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a cold light, and his killing intent surged. If that's the case, since you know the secret of my race, I will not allow you to leave this place alive. Interesting. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. It seemed like the illusion race's waters were deeper than he had imagined. The illusion race seemed to have colluded with the Abyss demons. This was not simple. Die, human. The black-robed, middle-aged man shouted angrily. He held a demonic blade in his hand and rushed towards Xiaoping. Abyssal divine ability. 9 Abyss demonic thunder. This was a terrifying mystique that it had refined by collecting the endless baleful aura of the abyssal world and using the power of demonic lightning in its body to kill billions of ordinary demons and absorb their souls. Once it erupted, it would create a terrifying explosion. It would be as if billions of lightning bolts were striking down, thousands of volcanoes would erupt, thousands of planets would explode, and everything within a range of billions of kilometers would be turned into dust. Even the nearby space would be shattered by the shockwave. Its power was so terrifying that even a sage with an immortal body would be blown to death. In an instant, terrifying bolts of black lightning emerged from the black-robed man's body. Countless black talismans were hidden within them, emitting a terrifying, destructive aura. Thousands upon thousands of ball-shaped lightning bolts bombarded down at the same time, like thousands of missiles, locking onto Xia Ping's chi activity. No matter where he fled to, they would follow him. Rumble, at that moment, thousands upon thousands of ball-shaped lightning bolts exploded at the same time. It was as if many demons from the abyss had self-destructed, producing an extremely terrifying explosive power. In that instant, it seemed as if everything within a range of billions of kilometers had been destroyed. All the vitality was blasted into dust, showing signs of collapsing. It was as if doomsday had arrived, destroying everything. Even the surrounding void space trembled billions of times. The surrounding mountains were instantly turned into dust. Even the demons nearby could not withstand it. They were all blasted into dust just by coming into contact with some of the aftershocks. However, the black-robed, middle-aged man did not care at all. He only wanted to kill the human in front of him. As for the demon soldiers, they were just cannon fodder. He could have as many as he wanted. Good timing. Xia Ping was fearless. He grabbed out with his hand, and the golden slime immediately turned into a golden greatsword, which he held in his hand. Immediately, he stood on the ground with both feet, as if he was Mother Earth. A tremendous and unfathomable power was transmitted from the depths of his feet, allowing him to condense the body of the earth. It was as if, at that moment, he had become Mother Earth. Nothing could shake him. His strength increased by tens of times, and invincible power surged through every cell in his body. Kill! Xia Ping held the golden greatsword in his hand and slashed forward lightly. With a puff, the golden greatsword produced a terrifying sharpness, triggering a terrifying sword aura. It seemed to have sliced the void space apart, leaving a black trail. No matter what it was, it could not withstand such a sharp force. The boundless air waves, terrifying explosive power, and violent energy tides that were heading for Xia Ping were all sliced apart by the sword. All of them flew towards Xia Ping's body. The sword aura even sliced apart countless 9 abyss demonic thunders and slashed towards the black-robed middle-aged man. Its speed had reached the speed of light, and it could not be seen by the naked eye. How is this possible? The black-robed middle-aged man screamed. He had never expected something like this to happen. He had unleashed his full strength, but it had no effect on this kid. It was just a single sword attack, but it had sliced apart all of his attacks. The sword aura was still heading for his body. The speed was too fast, and there was no way to avoid it or block it. Dong! In a split second, the body of this undying demon was sliced in half like a vegetable being sliced into a watermelon. It was not as simple as his body being sliced apart. Even his undying primordial spirit was sliced apart. Instantly, he felt excruciating pain, as though he had been subjected to endless torture. All the pain in the world could not compare to this. Along the way, the sword aura traversed billions of kilometers, almost slicing the land in half. It was as though the land had been sliced into a huge abyss. Many abyssal demons nearby were also killed by the sword aura. All of them were sliced into pieces, and not even their bones were left. Almost all the abyssal demons were dead. Not a single abyssal demon could survive under such sword aura. Too sharp, Xia Ping exclaimed. Previously, he had only tried out the power of the golden slime. He had not used his full strength. Now, in order to deal with this undying demon, he used a little more strength. He had not expected it to be this powerful. Just a single sword attack had sliced the undying demon in half, and it was on the verge of death. Such power was simply unbelievable. Chapter 2169. Walala, Xia Ping waved his hand and collected all the demon flesh on the ground. He placed them next to World Tree and let it absorb them. These demon flesh seemed to be very beneficial to World Tree's growth. Although it couldn't be compared to Undying Demon, it was still a low-level fertilizer. Who are you? At this moment, the demon looked at Xia Ping in fear. It felt unprecedentedly weak. After its Yuan spirit was split open by that sword, it had an injury that couldn't be healed. One must know that it was an undying demon and its injuries couldn't be healed. How terrifying was that? If it didn't experience it personally, it wouldn't dare to believe it. It immediately suspected Xia Ping's identity. It didn't know where he came from. He wasn't even an undying saint, but he was able to cripple it. This was unbelievable. You don't even know who I am. What's the deal with the Abyss Alliance? Can you tell me? I'm very interested in this. Xia Ping looked down from above. His aura completely locked onto the demon. This demon was completely under his control. It couldn't escape at all. A tyrannical force came crashing down with his body as the center, creating a terrifying aura. Even if the immortal demon made a move, he would be able to see it clearly. Scram, this is my Abyss secret. It can't be leaked. Just give up. The demon sneered. It was very stubborn. This was top secret information in the Abyss, and it would definitely not be known by others. Otherwise, it would definitely cause a great disaster. Oh, I see. Then I'm even more interested. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Don't. Without waiting for the demon to speak, countless roots of the World Tree sprouted from Xia Ping's body and pierced into the demon's body. Bastard, damn it. Human, what did you do to me? The demon screamed in fear. It felt fatal danger. It was as if the roots were a great threat to it. It was like it had met its natural enemy. But before it could resist, these roots had completely penetrated its body and even its soul. Its entire body was tied up, and it was almost unable to move. In the next second, even its soul lost consciousness. It was completely occupied by the will of the World Tree, as if it had become a puppet of the World Tree. It did not even have the ability to commit suicide. Tell me, what is this so-called Abyss Covenant? Xia Ping asked. This is the agreement between our Abyss world and the Illusion race. Our Abyss world will grant the Illusion race great power and provide them with countless cultivation resources. In return, the Illusion race must become a vassal race of the Abyss demons and prepare to invade the universe in the future. The black, undying demon replied like a machine. The Illusion tribe has become the dogs of the abyssal demons. They want to lead the way. What is going on? Xia Ping squinted his eyes, revealing a deep, murderous aura. These sages of the Illusion race clearly knew that the Abyss demons were the mortal enemies of all the races in the universe. But the Illusion race still dared to sign a contract with the Abyss demons and become traitors. If the other races found out about this, the Illusion race would die without a doubt, because this had violated the taboo of all the races in the universe. It was unforgivable. No one would forgive a traitor. At the start, the Illusion race did not agree. But a peak demon of my race personally corrupted one of the Illusion race old ancestors, making it completely degenerate into an Abyss demon. They had no choice but to agree. If not for the fear of being discovered by the other races, the entire race would have been corrupted by us. The black, undying demon said proudly. This was a shocking plan that spanned across the immemorial era. It corrupted a powerful race and made them a member of the Abyss. If the time came, the entire Illusion race would become an Abyss race and add a great combat power to the Abyss world. Until now, most of the sages of the Illusion race had become members of the Abyss. Only a few newly advanced Illusion race sages had not been assimilated. But when the time came, it was only a matter of time. Hearing this, Xia Ping's eyes flashed coldly. If the Abyss demons really started a war and the entire Illusion race betrayed them, all the races in the universe would suffer heavy losses, especially the special ability of the Illusion race. They could transform into other races. If they were used by the Abyss demons, the damage would be unimaginable. At that time, everyone would be in danger and would not know who was on their side. It could be said that this race was a double-edged sword. If they could not control it, they would definitely hurt themselves. This is no small matter. Looks like I have to let the upper echelons of the human race know about this and completely eradicate this scourge. Otherwise, it will definitely lead to a disaster in the future. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and thought of a series of plans. But for now, probably only the sages and ancestors of the illusion race would be corrupted by the abyss. Those young disciples did not know about this and did not have the qualifications to be corrupted by the abyss. This was a silver lining in the misfortune. Right, does that Minerva know about this? Xiaoping suddenly thought of that ancient sage Minerva. To be honest, from the moment they met, he indeed felt a wave of malice and discomfort from her. Previously, he thought that it might be because of her hostility that made him involuntarily resist. But now, it seemed that perhaps it was because of the abyss aura on her that made him feel hostility. It was only because Minerva had concealed her aura too perfectly that he could not detect it at first. However, this was only a guess. Whether it was true or not, he still had to investigate carefully. Since I've come to this abyss world, I can't leave empty-handed. I wonder how many immortal demons there are in this abyss continent. Perhaps I can kill a few and capture them as fertilizer. Xiaoping touched his chin. He could not return to the illusion world immediately because the trial was not over yet. It would still take 10 days. If he returned so soon, Minerva would definitely suspect him. Therefore, he still needed to stay in this abyss world for about 10 days. Whoosh! Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately flew into the depths of the abyss continent. He could sense that there were still many powerful abyssal demons in the abyss of this continent. If he could kill some of them, it would definitely be of great benefit to his cultivation. He was now filled with a sense of urgency. Perhaps it was time to advance to the sempiternal realm. Only by becoming a true sage could he have the invincible power to control everything. If he did not become a sage, he would still be an ant. Chapter 2170. One day later, in the depths of the abyss continent, on a plain, there was a vast and boundless city built here. The city walls stood tall, and the style was simple and unadorned. They seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of time, as if they hadn't changed at all after millions of years. In the depths of the city lived all kinds of abyssal demons. They were densely distributed around the city. It was like a human country with its own laws and rules. This was simply an inconceivable thing, because the abyss world was originally an extremely chaotic place. Like a primitive world, it was filled with barbarism and slaughter. There was only destruction, never construction. But after experiencing the defeat in the immemorial era, many abyssal demons learned from the painful experience and decided to learn all kinds of knowledge from the human race and the other races. They learned the system, learned the discipline, learned the army, learned the creation of weapons, and so on. They almost imitated the other races to build their own cities. However, this situation only appeared in some relatively powerful demonic continents. Only powerful forces could suppress all the abyssal demons and rule everything, not allowing any demons to resist. Whoosh! At this moment, Xiaoping silently approached the city. He couldn't help but exclaim when he saw this city. Although it looked very crude, its defense was extremely strong. The city walls were extremely thick and hard. Probably even dozens of battleships firing Star Destroyer cannons might not be able to penetrate these powerful city walls made of special materials. But he could also see that this abyss continent wasn't ordinary. There was definitely a powerful abyssal demon that completely unified this continent and forcefully made all kinds of rules. Only then did these powerful abyssal demons obediently stay together and not kill each other. He could sense that there were countless abyssal demons living around this city. Each of them was powerful, definitely the elites among elites. There were more than 10 billion of them. There are indeed immortal demons here. Suddenly, Xiaoping sensed that there was an ancient castle in the depths of the city. There was a powerful abyssal demon aura coming from that place, distorting the void. No ordinary demons dared to approach within several thousand kilometers. It was regarded as a forbidden zone. Whoosh! Xiaoping didn't hesitate. He used formless mask to conceal his aura and silently entered the depths of this ancient castle. No abyssal demons discovered him. In a castle hall, a total of 8 immortal-level abyssal demons appeared. They sat on huge stone chairs and seemed to be holding a meeting. Damn it, what's going on? Why did Logan's aura suddenly disappear from the Abyss continent? Who attacked him? A purple-horned, undying realm fiend roared. His body surged with rage, distorting space and causing cracks to appear on the ground. Hearing this, Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. This Logan was most likely the black, undying demon that he had captured and used as fertilizer for the World Tree. Now that a day had passed, the group of immortal fiendish demons probably knew about this matter. After all, even in the Abyss world, immortal fiendish demons were extremely powerful. Losing one was an extremely heavy loss that could not be ignored. Was it done by those bitches from the Illusion clan? Only they have the strength and motivation to do so. I heard that those bastards are actually trying to break free from the shackles of the will of the Abyss, and they've secretly played many tricks. A goat-horned, undying demonic demon's eyes flashed with a cold light. Because it wasn't just the undying realm fiendish demon that disappeared this time. There was also an army of hundreds of millions of fiendish demons. However, they had all disappeared. Not even their corpses were left. Without a doubt, Logan and the others must have been attacked by sages. Otherwise, they wouldn't have disappeared completely without leaving any traces. Trying to break free from the shackles of the will of the Abyss? That's wishful thinking. Even the sages of the immemorial era can't do this. What can those trash do? That's right. They've signed an agreement with the Abyss continent and still want to violate it. Dream on. Even so, these little tricks might affect the layout of our Abyss world. It might cause big trouble. We can't let those trash from the Illusion clan continue. We must teach them a lesson. We're still their boss. I knew those Illusion clan people are ingrates. We shouldn't have trusted them. We should have killed them all back then. Just leaving some trash would have been enough. Now that they can't do anything, they even want to bite back at their master. How preposterous. Don't worry, the Illusion clan people want to become masters. Who doesn't know their ambition? In the Abyss world, strength reigns supreme. It's normal to have some ambition. However, they've signed an agreement with the Abyss continent and obtained its power. If they still try to resist, they're traitors. We must teach them a lesson. The many undying fiendish demons sneered. They also knew the Illusion clan's ambition. Ever since they were eroded by the Abyss, they acted respectfully on the surface and cooperated with the Abyss. However, these sages often played tricks behind their backs, constantly trying to break free from the Abyss continent. After all, the Illusion sages were proud and didn't want to become the lackeys of other races. Even so, everything was under the control of the Abyss continent. It was like a dog with a collar tied around its neck. No matter how fierce the dog was, it couldn't break free from the collar and could only obediently accept its fate. They were well aware of this and were secretly watching a joke. Watching this group of illusory race sages act like clowns was also a rare source of entertainment. However, the Illusion sages dared to kill the undying fiendish demon Logan and possibly annihilate a demon army. This violated the bottom line and taboo of the Abyss demons. Because no matter how fierce a dog was, it shouldn't bite its master. If it did, it wouldn't be a good dog. It needed to be taught a lesson. But we don't have any proof that the Illusion sages did this. An undying fiendish demon said, "It doesn't matter. We need no proof. Just say it is." That's right. What explanation do we need? How about this? The day of our Abyss world's counterattack is near. Why don't we completely erode the Illusion clan and turn them into the Abyss? They won't be able to escape then. Indeed, use this chance to capture the Illusion clan in one fell swoop. This way, they won't be able to be traitors. The undying fiendish demons' eyes flashed with murderous intent. Because of Logan's disappearance, they completely lost their patience with the Illusion clan. They wanted to directly attack and control them. At this point, they didn't need to hide anything. Chapter 2171. At this moment, in a dark corner of the castle, Xiaoping used the power of the formless mask to conceal his aura. He hid nearby and quietly listened to the immortal fiendish demons meeting. No immortal fiendish demon could detect Xia Ping's presence. They want to corrupt the entire illusion race. Absolutely not. Otherwise, they will be a great help to the abyssal world. We must stop these immortal fiendish demons. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes with a cold glint. Although he was alone and couldn't contend against the entire abyssal world, it was still a piece of cake for him to deal with these immortal fiendish demons and delay them. Moreover, if he could kill these 8 immortal fiendish demons and refine them into immortal fruits, he would be able to reach Lightning Tribulation Realm Pinnacle immediately. It would save him a lot of cultivation time. At this moment, he didn't want to continue developing. He wanted to reach Sempiternal Realm first. As long as he grew stronger, capturing as many immortal fiendish demons as possible would be a piece of cake. All right, I will report the contents of the meeting to the general and let him know of our decision. We cannot delay the matter of corrupting the illusion race. I believe the general will agree with us and take action immediately. At this moment, the purple-horned immortal fiendish demon stood up and announced the end of the meeting. He did not hesitate at all. Then I'll leave it to you. The other 7 immortal fiendish demons nodded. They also agreed to this arrangement. Chance! Xia Ping's eyes flashed with a cold glint. He could sense that this was the moment when the 8 immortal fiendish demons were the most relaxed. They probably didn't expect to be ambushed in their own castle. His ambush this time would definitely catch the 8 immortal fiendish demons off guard. Kill! In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping took out the golden slimes that had transformed into a huge golden sword. A figure emerged from the void and slashed at the 8 undying fiendish demons. Golden slime mystic art, unstoppable. Swoosh! A beam of golden sword light slammed down from the sky, containing boundless killing intent and terrifying sharpness. It completely tore the castle and the world into two. Not good. The purple-horned, undying demon's hair stood on end. Every cell in his body felt a fatal killing intent because this sword was aimed at him. It was completely dumbfounded. It had never imagined that there would be an enemy assassinating it in this castle, the headquarters of the Abyss demons. This was something that had never happened in millions of years, and it had no experience. For a moment, it was completely dumbfounded. Its mind was blank, and it didn't know how to react. Dong! The sword cleaved the purple-horned, fiendish demon in half. Even his essence soul was completely torn apart by the sword light. With a spluttering sound, the blood on its body spurted out like a fountain. In a loud thud, the two halves smashed onto the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. Their eyes widened in horror, unwillingness, fear, and disbelief. It was as if it couldn't believe that it had died just like that. It was killed on the spot with a single strike. It couldn't even react. It couldn't be blamed. The sword was just too fast. With a flash of cold light, its body was cut in half. This was an earth-shattering sword that surpassed the imagination of all the undying demons. Bastard, you dare kill Lord Dylan. You're courting death. You're courting death. Do you understand? Seeing the purple-horned, immortal fiendish demon die in one strike, the other 7 immortal fiendish demons finally reacted. They roared and stared at Lin Yun with their eyes wide open. They were extremely furious. No one had ever dared to barge into the abyssal demon's castle. No one had even been able to assassinate them in this place. Now, someone actually appeared and killed the undying demon Dylan in front of them. This was a slap to their faces. This was an unprecedented humiliation. Die, abstruse, in demon claw, roared an undying demon. It clawed at Xia Ping. Endless abstruse, in demon chi gathered in the depths of the void. At the same time, dense demonic runes appeared. A huge black claw appeared, containing terrifying sharpness. It was like an ancient demonic bird from the abyssal world. This claw tore the world apart. At the same time, it contained terrifying abyssal demon chi that corroded the space, causing the world to shake. Blood Sea Torrent. Another blood-colored, undying demon attacked. A sea of blood filled the sky. Countless amounts of blood spread out from the depths of the void as if it had a mind of its own. Every drop of blood represented a vengeful spirit or evil ghost. Countless drops of blood formed a long river of blood that filled the sky. Anyone who fell into it would immediately be corroded and become one of the vengeful spirits in the blood sea. The sea of blood even contained a soul attack. It was like billions of evil ghosts lunging over. Even immortal, fiendish demons with slightly weaker souls would be completely devoured. Great Void Demon Flame. Another crimson, undying demon opened its mouth and spat out a ball of fire. This was a terrifying flame from the abyssal world. It could burn the void and corrode souls. Once upon a time, it could destroy half of the abyssal continent with a single breath and burn countless abyssal demons to death. Just a drop of it could kill all living beings on a planet and turn them to ashes. Instantly, the sea of fire that filled the sky rushed over, burning the heaven and earth. Woo woo woo. Ghosts wailed, wolves howled, and gods and devils cried. Apart from this, the other 4 undying demons also attacked at the same time. They used their best abilities and attacked from all directions. They didn't give Xia Ping any time to escape. The 7 undying demons' attacks were simply earth-shattering. They could destroy everything within 1 billion kilometers. Destructive ripples spread out from time to time. The entire castle was destroyed in an instant, and all the building materials were completely destroyed, leaving not a single drop behind. Even the soldiers of the Fiend demon race that were stationed near the castle could not withstand the waves of Dharma power. Within a breath's time, they were all shocked to death and turned into dust, leaving nothing behind. All the abyssal demons in this boundless city looked towards the castle. They could clearly feel the wrath of the 7 undying demons. It was like the end of the world had arrived. Some of the weaker ones prostrated on the ground in fear, not daring to move. Good. Xia Ping was expressionless. He wielded the golden greatsword and had the body of earth. He had endless energy. He didn't fear anything. These undying demons were nothing to him. In an instant, he attacked again. Chapter 2172. God Art Earthquake. In an instant, Xia Ping immediately activated the supreme divine ability of the golden greatsword in his hand. Rumble with his body as the center, a terrifying earthquake occurred in a radius of billions of kilometers. It was like the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. The entire land and space was shaking. In an instant, all the buildings in the city of demons collapsed, and terrifying cracks appeared on the ground, extending for more than 1 billion kilometers. Even the surrounding spatial barriers were densely packed with cracks, as if they were made of glass. This power even caused space to shatter and shatter. Layers of spatial tremors came from the depths of the golden sword. It seemed to have triggered the laws of vibration, creating billions of tremors that contained boundless destructive power. Dong dong dong. In just an instant, the attacks of the 7 immortal fiendish demons, be it Mystic Demon Claw, Sky Torrential Blood Sea, Great Void Demon Fire, or other god arts, were all turned into a ball of energy and completely destroyed. Impossible. The 7 immortal fiendish demons were dumbfounded. They didn't expect the attacker to be this terrifying. Just one sword strike was enough to destroy all of their power, leaving nothing behind. This was simply unimaginable. It was simply unimaginable. Kill. Xia Ping was unforgiving. How could he miss such a great opportunity? He slashed over again. Suddenly, a golden sword light swept over. It was like this was the only light left in the world, as if it was the only light in the world of darkness. All the abyssal demons in Fiendish Demon City could see this golden light sweeping out from the depths of the castle. Everything in its path, no matter what it was cut in half. Bang, bang, bang. In the next second, the heads of the 7 immortal fiendish demons were cut off at the same time. Blood sprayed out from their necks, almost dyeing the ground red. The blood even contained terrifying corrosive properties. It made sizzling sounds and corroded the ground. Large amounts of smoke rose from the ground. Moreover, this sword didn't just cut off their heads. It also tore their souls in half. The vitality of their immortal bodies was completely extinguished. Countless cells died at the same time. Their eyes were wide open, showing fear, panic, bewilderment, and disbelief as if they couldn't believe they died just like that. After all, they were terrifying, fiendish demons with immortal bodies. They had lived for billions of years. Yet they were killed in just one sword attack. No one would believe this. They would only treat it as a joke. Success. Xiaoping was very excited. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly. The 8 immortal fiendish demons didn't have much chance to retaliate. Firstly, it was all thanks to the power of the golden slime. Its various sacred abilities were unparalleled. Even immortal rank demons could not withstand the power of the golden swords. Secondly, his timing was too good. He killed the strongest immortal fiendish demons with his first attack. The other 7 immortal fiendish lords couldn't react in time. How could the 8 immortal fiendish demons resist? They were all killed. Very good. With the corpses of these 8 immortal fiendish demons, I can refine them into immortal fruits. It will definitely raise my magic power and divine sense to the peak. It will save me countless years of cultivation. Xiaoping clenched his fist. He felt that he had struck it rich this time. Bastard, you dare to kill my subordinates. You're courting death. Suddenly, a furious roar came from the depths of the void. It shook the void for billions of kilometers. Countless energies exploded, causing the souls of countless fiendish demons to crack. A terrifying aura spread out from the depths of countless dimensions, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 earths. What? Xiaoping's hair stood up. Every cell in his body was warning him. An intense sense of danger spread throughout his body. It was as if he was being targeted by a peerless beast. Near ancient sage, the one who spoke was an existence that far surpassed immortal sage. His strength had reached the near ancient sage level. Such strength was more than 100 times stronger than immortal sage. In the blink of an eye, a huge black hand tore through countless layers of origin space and slammed towards Xiaoping from an unknown distance. Abyss sacred art. Heaven-shrouding demon hand. This dark demonic hand was truly connected to the heavens and the earth. Its fingers were tens of thousands of kilometers long and were filled with demonic chi. They contained countless abyssal demon runes, and it was as if there were billions of demons wailing and howling. This gigantic hand slapped out from the depths of void space, encompassing an area of millions and millions of kilometers. It was as if the entire world was covered by this gigantic hand. All the light, all the stars, and the surrounding void space all disappeared, as if it had been sealed up. All the fiendish demons only saw a hand made of abyss demonic energy reaching out from the depths of the void. The strands of demonic energy that leaked out from this hand had condensed into a physical form. They came from all directions, and each strand of demonic energy seemed to weigh more than 100 tons. Billions of strands of demonic energy pressed down, forming a small world that crushed towards Xiaoping's body. The entire void was about to collapse from the pressure. The so-called immortal fiendish demons were simply a joke in front of this palm. The difference was incalculable. Too strong. Only now did Xiaoping truly feel how terrifying a near-ancient saint was. This was a furious attack from a near-ancient saint. This was the strongest enemy he had ever encountered. Before, he thought that near-ancient saints were only existences that comprehended space laws. Even if they were stronger than immortal saints, they weren't that much stronger. Perhaps he could deal with them. But now, it seemed that he had underestimated them. Near-ancient saints who comprehended space laws could not only use space power to the acme of perfection, but they could also use the power of the void to unleash power that was thousands of times stronger. A single strike was like countless spaces crushing down on them. If a world descended, it would be reduced to dust in an instant. Sacred art. Infinite void, 3,000 clones. Xiaoping didn't hesitate and immediately split into 3,000 clones that merged into the void and escaped in all directions. Then he grabbed and placed the 8 immortal fiendish demons' corpses into the mountain river pearl space. At the same time, he used Kuan Peng steps and turned into a giant Kuan Peng. He silently entered the depths of the void and instantly moved billions of kilometers away. At this time, The demonic hand that covered the sky came crashing down, slapping the place where Xia Pingyuan was standing. Boom! Everything within billions of kilometers was flattened. The city of fiendish demons was immediately turned to dust. All the fiendish demons were killed and turned to dust in an instant. A giant palm print appeared on the ground. It was filled with dense and terrifying runes. It seemed like there were terrifying imprints even in the depths of the void. Chapter 2173. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure walked out from the depths of the void. Its entire body was wrapped in demonic energy, distorting the void and corroding the space within thousands of kilometers. The demonic energy was dense, making it impossible to see its true appearance. Although it looked like it was standing in the air, it was actually hiding in the depths of countless dimensions. Ordinary sages couldn't find its true body. Damn, where did that human ant go? Did he get slapped to death, or did he run away? The terrifying ancient fiend said in a muffled voice. He was filled with rage, seeing his 9 undying fiends being killed by a human. This was an unprecedented humiliation. After learning about this, it came to use its supreme demon god art, Heaven's shrouding demon hand. It tried to slap the human to death across countless dimensions. But when it arrived here, it didn't find that damned human. It didn't know if he had been slapped to death or had escaped, because it couldn't sense any human's aura within billions of kilometers. It was as if the enemy had disappeared right in front of its eyes. It was unbelievable, but as an ancient demon, it could clearly sense that the human hadn't been killed by it. Instead, the human had escaped into the void at the critical moment. That guy even had a special method to hide his aura and avoid its pursuit. You're lucky. I've remembered your aura. Don't let me find you, or you'll die for sure. The demon roared in anger and murderous intent. It was unwilling to give up and immediately searched the entire Abyss continent, searching every corner. But it still couldn't find any trace of the enemy. It was as if the enemy had disappeared into thin air. The illusion disciples who entered the Abyss continent to train were pale and trembling. They felt the terrifying consciousness scanning everywhere, almost causing them to collapse. Fortunately, the ancient demon still remembered the agreement with the illusion race and didn't attack these ants. Otherwise, with just one breath, the illusion race's disciples would have been turned into ashes. A few days later, the demon gave up on searching for the killer. It didn't have that much time to stay here, so it could only give up. At this time, in a remote valley somewhere in the Abyss continent, Xia Ping cast the 3,000 Great Void and Infinity clones, coupled with the Kuan Peng Steps and other speed magical abilities, and the Formless Mask to help conceal his aura. He turned into a stone on the side of the road. Only then did he manage to hide from the search of that ancient demon. There were a few times when he was almost discovered by the ancient demon. Fortunately, the Formless Mask was very powerful, and the ancient demon did not discover him when he turned into a rock. Otherwise, he would really be dead. Pooh! Xiaoping couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His heart was still pounding with fear. Fortunately, he reacted quickly. When the ancient demon attacked, he decisively fled. That was how he managed to avoid most of the damage. But even so, his body was still swept by the aftermath, and he was instantly seriously injured. The terrifying power of space invaded his internal organs, destroying every cell in his body. Even though he had the Blood Rebirth bloodline ability, it would still take him a long time to recover. If he was hit head-on, even if he didn't die, he would at least lose half his life. The ancient sages are still too strong. I have to break through to the sempiternal realm to stand a chance against them. Xiaoping was now very clear about his own strength, and the huge gap between him and the ancient sages. Fortunately, he did not come out empty-handed this time. He obtained the corpses of 8 immortal fiendish demons. After the world tree devoured and refined them, 8 immortal fruits were born. The 8 immortal fruits were very mystical. They were the size of a fist, and they were covered in dense, golden patterns. There were thousands of runes coiling around them, and every rune contained a mysterious magical power. The flesh of the fruits contained the life essence of an immortal fiendish demon. After being cleansed by the world tree, all impurities were removed, and only the purest essence was left. An immortal fruit like this was equivalent to the magic power of a lightning tribulation realm expert after billions of years. This time, I must reach the peak of the lightning tribulation realm. I might even have a chance to break through to the sempiternal realm. Xia Ping swallowed the 8 immortal fruits in one go. Walala, the 8 immortal fruits represented the life essence of 8 immortal fiendish demons. There was no waste at all. They immediately entered Xia Ping's stomach and were digested. Immediately, he felt a huge amount of energy surging out from the depths of his body. It surged into his limbs like a tidal wave, then into his sea of consciousness and into his 9 purple mansions. The heavy injuries from the ancient fiendish demons were also recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. In an instant, he had recovered to his peak condition. At the same time, his body in Yuan Shun immediately swelled up. His magic power skyrocketed and rose. The 9 purple mansions, which were originally in a state of emptiness, immediately swelled up after being nourished by the 8 immortal fruits. They quickly filled up. Every corner of the 9 purple mansions was filled with majestic energy. Peak of the lightning tribulation realm. Xia Ping immediately sensed that his Yuan Shun and his magic power had reached the peak. It was almost at the point of no improvement. His 9 purple mansions were filled with majestic energy. His Yuan Shun also rose to the extreme. It felt like his Yuan Shun and his body had completely merged. If he could completely merge his Yuan Shun and every cell in his body, he would transform into a true spirit. Then, he would truly obtain an immortal body and advance to the sage realm. Boom! In an instant, Xia Ping's soul also entered the depths of the sea of bitterness. His soul expanded several times, and he was like a giant crossing the sea of bitterness. Instantly, countless seawater from the sea of bitterness slapped against his giant body. Huge waves surged around him. From time to time, lightning flashed and thunder roared. Storms raged. Every drop of seawater was pulling his body, trying to make him sink into the sea of bitterness. Get lost! Xia Ping roared in anger. Thunder rumbled, and a terrifying aura was generated. He punched out again and pierced through the sea of bitterness. All the dark clouds in the sky dispersed. He relied on brute force to advance step by step. No matter how strong the wind or the waves were, they could not stop him at all. After an unknown period of time, he finally neared the shore of the sea of bitterness. Xia Ping's heart jumped. He wanted to use this chance to cross the sea of bitterness and jump out of the river of fate to become immortal. But when he reached the shore, an invisible barrier appeared in front of him. It stopped him from moving forward and prevented him from jumping out of the sea of bitterness. He was just a little bit away from condensing his true spirit and advancing to the immortal realm. I need one more lightning trial. Xia Ping immediately understood why he was a little bit lacking. His body and primordial spirit were too powerful. He needed a lightning tribulation and a powerful external force to fuse his primordial spirit with his body, allowing his soul to transform into a true spirit. The lightning trial was a crisis, but it was also an opportunity to help him advance to the immortal realm. Soon, the lightning trial is coming too. Xia Ping felt that deep in the void, the terrifying lightning trial was brewing. Once it was done, he would dodge it and immediately become immortal, condensing his true spirit. Chapter 2174. A few days later, in a plaza in the Fantasy Quest Hall, there was a teleportation array connected to the abyss. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, many figures appeared from the teleportation array. They were illusion warriors who had completed their training and returned from the abyss. They looked excited, as if they had just survived a disaster. We're back. We're finally back alive. Isn't that right? I dare say that this trial was the most dangerous trial in history. Yeah, who would have thought that we would run into ancient demons? We were almost killed by them. Yeah, we were so close. If we were noticed by the ancient demons, we would have been dead. Everyone was overjoyed. They felt that their luck was too good. They were so close to being completely annihilated. None of them would have made it back alive. Huh, that's strange. Where are Jacob and the other examiners? Where did they go? Why haven't they returned? Someone noticed that Jacob and the other elders were nowhere to be seen. Yeah, where did Chris and the others go? With their strength, they shouldn't have failed the trial. Where are they now? Someone noticed that Chris and the others hadn't returned. They thought it was strange. Out of all the participants, Chris and the others were relatively strong. Everyone else had passed the trial, so there was no way Chris and the others hadn't. Yeah. Before we left, I saw Chris and the others surrounding Barty. They looked like they wanted to kill him. Did Barty kill them? Impossible. No matter how strong Barty is, he can't kill Chris and the others. Not to mention, Jacob and the other elders were with him. Even if Barty ascended to heaven, there's nothing he could do. But now that Elder Jacob hasn't returned, I'm afraid the odds are against him. And Barty might be dead too. If he's dead, then he's dead. What does that have to do with us? We've completed the mission anyway. Everyone discussed this matter spiritedly, feeling extremely confused. Chris and the others, as well as Jacob and the other elders, still hadn't returned alive. This was simply a fantasy story. Some people even guessed that Jacob and the others had been killed by Barty, but everyone shook their heads, thinking that it was impossible. It was like a white rabbit killing a dozen tigers. No matter how they looked at it, it was ridiculous. No one believed that Barty could kill Jacob and the others. Boom! At that moment, the teleportation array lit up again and a figure appeared on the square. Buddy, isn't that Buddy? He's not dead yet? Quite a few people immediately cried out in alarm. When they saw Barty appear, they all looked as if they had seen a ghost, and their faces were filled with disbelief. They had all seen Barty's fate. He had been surrounded by Jacob and the other elders. No matter how they looked at it, he was doomed to die. Now, he had actually come back alive. It was simply unbelievable. If it weren't for the fact that Barty's body was emitting the aura of a living person, they would have thought that they were seeing a ghost. At that moment, Xiaoping had finally stayed in the Abyss continent for 10 days, so he chose to return to the illusion world. For the past few days, he had been consolidating his cultivation, familiarizing himself with his skyrocketing magic power, divine sense, and other powers, quietly waiting for the arrival of the Thunder Calamity. And this time, his control over his power had become even more perfect. It was smooth and formless. Not a single trace of aura leaked out. It was perfect and flawless. Barty, at that moment, 3 Mission Hall elders flew over from afar. Impressively, they had all reached the peak of the Thunder Calamity realm. Murderous intent filled their bodies as they descended on the square in an instant. Why did you come back alone? Where are Elder Jacob and the others? Where did they go? One of the Mission Hall elders immediately questioned, glaring fiercely at Xiaoping. He was someone who knew the details, so naturally, he knew the plan of Jacob and the others. Their goal was to kill Barty. But now, Barty was not dead. Instead, Jacob and the others were missing. No matter how he thought about it, it was strange. How would I know? Elder Jacob is a Thunder Calamity realm expert. How would I dare to ask about his whereabouts? But since he hasn't returned yet, he's probably dead. Xiaoping said lazily. Dead my ass. Another black-clothed elder shouted angrily. Jacob and the others have 3 Thunder Calamity realm experts. Their strength is tyrannical. Even if you die 8 or 10 times, they won't die. Tell me, did you murder them? Did you cause them to meet with misfortune? He couldn't restrain his anger. He was treating Xiaoping as a murderer. Elder, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. You say that I murdered them. May I ask if you have any proof? Xiaoping looked at the black-clothed elder calmly. The black-clothed elder was momentarily speechless. He didn't know what to say. He couldn't say that Jacob and the others had entered this trial with the goal of murdering Barty. Could he? If he said this, he would immediately be investigated by the Council of Elders and sentenced to death on the spot. After all, this was a violation of the clan's rule of no infighting. Even a saint would be severely punished. This kind of thing couldn't be said. Otherwise, it would cause a huge uproar. When the time came, he would be treated as a scapegoat. Don't speak carelessly if you don't have proof. Spreading rumors is a felony. Moreover, you said that they can't die just because they're strong. Who made such a rule? This is the Abyss continent. There are even immortal demons. Maybe they were unlucky enough to meet an immortal demon and ended up being eaten. After all, in this world, you can choke to death when you're unlucky. Xia Ping said indifferently. Met an immortal demon? That's indeed a possibility. When I was in the trial, I saw an immortal demon flying through the sky. Its monstrous demonic aura almost killed me. Hearing this, someone from the illusion tribe immediately cried out and recounted his experience. Indeed, I also met an immortal demon. It was truly monstrous. Earlier, it seemed to have exploded in anger and swept through the entire Abyss continent. I don't know what it was searching for. Now that you mention it, I also remember. It's very likely that Jacob and the others did something that angered the immortal demon and were killed on the spot. So that's how it is. If that's the case, Jacob and the others probably touched the immortal demon's bad luck and were killed on the spot. How unlucky. If that's the case, then Jacob and the others were really unlucky. Everyone discussed. They were very sympathetic and pitted Jacob and the others. They were so unlucky to meet an immortal demon and be killed on the spot. No matter what cultivation level one had, meeting an immortal demon was a dead end. In fact, this was the only reason that could explain why Jacob and the others died. After all, with Barty's cultivation and strength, he couldn't have posed any threat to Jacob and the others. Chapter 2175. Upon hearing this, the three elders of the Hall of Mission subconsciously believed everyone's words. If an ancient demon had really appeared in the Abyss continent, and Jacob and the others happened to encounter it, then Jacob and the others' deaths would not be in vain. In fact, they did not believe that Barty could kill Jacob and the others by himself. Barty must have used some kind of trick to kill Jacob and the others. Although they were very suspicious, they did not have any evidence. After all, they did not go to the Abyss continent, and there were no witnesses or material evidence around to prove it. Elders, if you still do not believe me, why don't you report this to the group of elders and have them send someone down to investigate this matter thoroughly and see if there is anything fishy about it? Xia Ping made his own suggestion. If it really was my fault, then I will take full responsibility for this matter. However, if there were any other factors involved, or if there were some people who had interfered, I believe that the Council of Elders would not let go of those who tried to harm Elder Jacob and the others. They would catch all of them and kill them all to ensure fairness. He smiled and looked at the three elders of the mission hall with a threatening look in his eyes. Then, there is no need to make such a big deal out of it. Hearing this, the elder in black felt his hair stand on end. He was sweating profusely, but he quickly laughed it off. What a joke. If this matter was handed over to the group of elders, they would definitely reveal all of their plans. When that happened, it would cause a huge uproar, and who knew how many people would die. First of all, as a near-ancient saint, the mastermind behind Minerva would not be harmed. The only ones who would be harmed would be the small fries who were caught to take the blame. It could be said that this matter could only be buried and not announced. Otherwise, all of them would die. Yes. If an ancient demon appeared, then Jacob and the others did not die in vain. Indeed, this matter should not have much to do with Barty. Also, in terms of strength, there is no way Barty could have killed Jacob and the others. Elder Jacob and the others were really unlucky to die at such a young age. What a pity. Isn't that right? However, life is unpredictable. Who knows what will happen? You might choke to death while eating. The words of the three mission hall elders immediately removed this matter from Xia Ping's shoulders. They did not plan to pursue this matter any further, lest they brought more trouble upon themselves. After all, even if they continued to pursue the matter, they would not gain anything from it. Instead, they might even report this matter to the elders. At that time, they would probably be in deep trouble. Even if they used to be good friends with Jacob, in the face of disaster, even husband and wife would be separated. Not to mention that they were just swine friends, and Jacob might even die. There was no need for them to bring trouble upon themselves because of a dead person. Now that Jacob and the others were dead, there shouldn't be many people who would pursue the matter. As long as they could shut this kid's mouth, everyone would be safe. As for Minerva's anger, it had nothing to do with them. Xiaoping did not say anything. He merely looked at the three elders of the mission hall with a faint smile. Suddenly, the black-clothed elder was extremely embarrassed. He was like a thief who had been caught. He was so arrogant just now, but now he was bowing to this extent. It was really embarrassing. However, he had no choice but to lower his head now. Ahem. How about this, Barty? You've done well in this trial mission and obtained an excellent result. Everyone can see that, so I'll appoint you as the team leader of the Treasury's guards. You'll be in charge of a team. Here, this is the team leader's token. Tomorrow, you can go directly to the Treasury and take up your post. To shut Xiaoping's mouth, the black-clothed elder took the liberty of putting a team leader's token on Xiaoping, indicating that he was now an official and did not need to be a soldier anymore. When the other illusion people saw this, their intestines turned green with jealousy. They were all people who had just passed the trial, so why were they only able to be guards? That D***Mn Barty, on the other hand, was able to soar to the sky and become a team leader. It did not make sense. However, when they saw the fierce look in the three elders' eyes, none of them dared to make sound. If the elders made things difficult for them, they would not be able to bear the consequences. After that, the three elders left with their tails between their legs. They did not dare to stay in the same place. They were afraid that Barty would go crazy and drag them all down with him. They would all die together. At this time, Xiaoping did not care about the others. He left the square, planning to return to Lawrence City. However, just as he left the square, he bumped into Emma at the door. "Barty, you're still alive?" Love Ma looked at Xiaoping in shock. She had only come to this place because she had a sliver of hope that Barty was still alive. However, she also knew that it was impossible. After all, he had angered Minerva, a near ancient saint, and ambushed by Jacob and the other elders. There was no way he could escape death. However, when she came to this place, she was shocked to find that Xiaoping was not dead. Even Jacob and the others had disappeared without a trace. They were probably dead. She couldn't believe her own eyes at this moment. Yes, I'm lucky I'm not dead. I'm lucky that the family head gave me a charm. Otherwise, I would have been ambushed by Jacob and the others and died. Xiaoping said. This. Emma did not know what to say. If the family head Sophia had not betrayed Barty, this would not have happened to him. He would not have needed a charm to take revenge. However, she could not say it out loud. Regardless, Barty came back alive. This was the silver lining in the misfortune. It's good that you're back. Don't leave the illusion casually for now. Just stay here and train. It's dangerous outside. Emma looked at Xiaoping seriously. She knew that Minerva was a vicious person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. If he could not kill Barty this time, he would definitely calculate the next time. He would not give up until Barty died. Thanks for the reminder. I understand. How about this? I still have something to do. I need to go back and rest. I want to accompany you for now, Xiaoping said to Emma. Okay. Emma understood how tired Barty was. After all, he had gone through a near-death experience. He definitely needed some time of rest. With a whoosh, Xiaoping left the place and returned to his home in Lawrence City. Emma looked at Xiaoping deeply, then turned around and went back to Lawrence Castle. She wanted to go back and report to the family head Sophia that Barty was still alive. Chapter 2176. Lawrence Castle. At this moment, Emma returned to the castle and reported to Sophia that Xiaoping was still alive. What did you just say? Hearing this, Sophia's eyes flashed coldly. Not only did that kid not hate me, he even said that he was very grateful that I gave him a charm, which allowed him to live. Yes, Emma nodded. Barty should be someone we can rope in. He's a person who knows how to repay favors. He doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes. Shut up. He just casually said a few words, and you actually believed him? Sophia laughed coldly. With his intelligence, how could he not know that I had a part in this? It was also because of me that he was in such a desperate situation. Now, he doesn't have any resentment or complaints. Instead, he smiles and says that he is very grateful to me. Do you think I, Sophia, will believe these words? Hearing this, Emma could not help but be stunned. Without a doubt, this kid is being sarcastic. Sophia's eyes flashed coldly. He knows that his strength is far from enough. Even if he is angry, he cannot take revenge. So, he endured this and pretended that nothing happened. People like this are very shrewd and know how to endure. It's fine if he is weak, but once he becomes strong enough, he will be a scourge. He is the most terrifying enemy. Waves of murderous intent surged from her body. Master, are you going to kill Barty as well? But he said that he is from the Lawrence family. Emma immediately felt the murderous intent from Sophia permeate the air. Kill him? Sophia immediately laughed. He is just an ant in the returning truth realm. What right does he have for me to kill him? No matter how scheming an ant is, he cannot be compared to a saint. He is far from that. And even if I don't do anything, he offended the ancient Saint Minerva. How long do you think he can live? I think he is very capable if he can live more than 3 months. He was lucky this time and accidentally met an ancient demon, which allowed him to live. But can he be so lucky a second time? Can he be a third time? She did not care about Barty's anger at all. It was not important to a saint. Instead, she treated this matter as a good show. She wanted to see how long this ant could live. Emma sighed when she heard these words. She could not change the saint's decision. She also felt that Barty's situation boded ill. After all, Barty's enemy was not only Minerva, but Sophia as well. This was especially so for Sophia, who prided herself as a wise person. She hated things that were out of her control. If Minerva could not kill Barty, who knew if Sophia would be able to endure it? However, she was just a small fry and could not shake the will of a saint. Elsewhere in the illusion realm, in an ancient castle of the Lenst family, the castle occupied an extremely large area of 3 million square kilometers, which was equivalent to the land area of a human country. It was enough to support hundreds of millions of people. Therefore, this castle was also incomparably majestic. Rows upon rows of buildings were arranged, and tyrannical restrictive formations were set up everywhere. Even a sage would not be able to force his way through this place. The defense was like an iron wall. This was the place where the ancient Saint Minerva lived. At this moment, some of the Lenst spies returned with serious expressions. They reported to Minerva that Xiaoping had safely returned to the illusion realm and had even taken the opportunity to be promoted to the position of captain of the treasury guards. After reporting this news, the Lenst clansmen were all terrified. This time, they had ruined Minerva's plan. No one knew how many people would get on his bad side and die a violent death. Useless. Useless. All of you are useless. As expected, Minerva's face was filled with rage. I gave him a lot of help, even breaking the rules of the elders and helping them secretly. However, they could not kill that brat and even let him come back alive and kicking. They even promoted him to nobility. What the hell are they doing? They are useless. They should be glad that they are dead now. If they were still alive, I would let them know what it means to live a life worse than death and what it means to be tortured. Berserk rage radiated from his body, causing the surrounding Lenst clansmen to tremble in fear. Their souls trembled, and the entire castle rumbled. Sorry, Lord Patriarch. We are useless. The Lenst clansmen knelt on the ground in fear, not daring to raise their heads. Sorry? Do you think a simple apology can erase the failure of this matter? Minerva said angrily. 3 months. I'll only give you 3 months. Think of a way to make Barty disappear from my sight. I don't want to hear any news about him. If you can't do it, it won't be Barty who disappears. It will be you pieces of trash who will disappear from this universe. Do you understand? Endless killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. Yes, Lord Patriarch. None of the Lenst clansmen dared to refute. None of them could withstand the fury of a saint. At this moment, they hated Xiaoping to the core. If it weren't for this bastard, they wouldn't have been treated like this and thrown into a crisis of life and death. What are you still doing here? Hurry up and scram. Minerva said coldly. Yes, Lord Patriarch. Hearing this, many of the Lynx clansmen felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Staying next to a furious saint was like staying with a tiger. Their lives were frozen in water. If they weren't careful, they would be killed by the saint's aura. Now that they had a chance to leave, they were all wild with joy. Of course, they didn't dare to show it. They all put on expressions of deep hatred and quickly left the palace. In just a few moments, Minerva was the only one left in the palace. Oof. Barty, you little ant. I didn't expect your luck to be so good. You actually ran into a passing demon from the near ancient era. This kind of luck is heaven-defying. Minerva clenched his fists, his eyes flashing coldly. But I want to see if your luck will be this good, and if you can avoid being hunted down again and again. At this point, he fell into deep thought. But where did that near ancient era demon come from? Why did it suddenly appear in the Abyss continent? Is it some kind of conspiracy? Or could it be that the Abyss demons can't wait any longer and want to make a move on the illusory? Minerva's eyes flashed coldly. He felt that this was very unusual. The appearance of a near ancient era demon couldn't be that simple. This meant that a storm of blood had begun. Chapter 2177. One day later, Xia Ping went directly to the transfer station near the Hall of Missions. He took the teleportation formation and was immediately teleported to the treasury. The treasury of the illusion race was located in the deepest part of the illusion realm. It was a huge golden palace that covered an area of more than 30 million square kilometers. It was practically endless. This is the treasury of the illusion race. With a swoosh, Xia Ping was teleported to the door of the treasury. There were also people who had passed the test with him. There were more than 100 of them. He looked forward and immediately saw a majestic palace standing on the ground. It was so tall that it reached the clouds. It emitted an endless aura and majesty. It was extremely vast and majestic. The entire palace seemed to have been set up with densely packed restrictive formations that twisted the space around them. Countless restrictive formations had merged with the sky and the earth. If anyone dared to touch the restrictive formations of the treasury, they would immediately be struck by lightning. Vaguely, through the Golden Crow's eye, he could see that the entire treasury contained layers of space. Entering it was like entering a space maze, and there was no way to get out. Under Xia Ping's divine sense, he could even sense a powerful saint's aura in the depths of the treasury. Whoever dared to have any ideas about this treasury would most likely die. It could be said that this place was so well protected that not even a fly could get in. Finally, we're here. Previously, we just came to exchange for treasures. I didn't expect that we would have the opportunity to become guards. Isn't that right? Last time, when we came to exchange for treasures, we were ruthlessly extorted by the guards here. They said that if we didn't get any benefits, they would give us some trash. We had no choice but to be extorted. Damn, I had the same experience. This time, it's finally my turn to become a guard. If I don't extort more, I will have suffered for nothing this time. You're right. This is where we will rise and get rich. Many people of the illusion race discussed excitedly. Their eyes lit up. They felt that their good days had finally arrived. They didn't have to live frugally like before. Are you the new guards? At this time, an old man in a gray robe walked out of the treasury. He had the aura of a misfortune state expert. He seemed to be very old, and it was unknown how many tens of thousands of years he had lived. His grayish-white eyes were terrifying and terrifying. That's right, Elder Titan. When the crowd saw the gray-robed elder appear, they immediately felt deep veneration. This was because the other party was an elder who guarded this treasury. He had a high status and was extremely powerful. His status was second only to the saints. They already knew a thing or two about the people in the treasury. Very good. Follow me in. In the future, all of you will have to guard this treasury and strictly abide by the rules here. Otherwise, if you activate the restrictive array of the treasury, no one will be able to save you. Elder Taildon nodded and led the way. Seeing this, everyone followed Elder Titan into the treasury. Suddenly, the space around them changed. It was as if they had been directly teleported into a different space within the treasury. Clearly, the treasury's entrance and the treasury's interior were two different spaces. Even if someone broke the door of the treasury, they would not be able to enter the depths of the treasury. The treasury is divided into two halls. One is the outer hall, and the other is the inner hall. Elder Titan explained as he walked, the treasures in the outer hall are mainly used to provide large amounts of pills, treasures, materials, secret techniques, and so on. These are all things that can help mortals increase their cultivation. However, the inner hall is different. Inside are the true treasures of our illusion tribe. There are treasures of the universe. There are saints guarding it, so no one can get close. Your main job is to patrol the outer hall and look for criminals who are trying to break into the treasury to steal. At the same time, monitor the restrictive array for any abnormalities. You don't have to worry about anything else. You're not allowed to get close to the inner hall. Yes, Elder. Everyone nodded vigorously. They knew that these rules were very important to them. If they were even the slightest bit careless, they might immediately be chased out of the treasury or even executed. Inner hall. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He instinctively felt that this so-called inner hall was probably where he was supposed to go. Perhaps the sound vein stone was stored inside. As for the treasures in the outer hall, he did not care much about them. He could casually take out some treasures that were comparable to the treasures in the outer hall. Of course, if he had the chance, he did not mind stealing. No one would complain about having too many treasures. Remember, you must hold on to the token in your hands. This is the only thing that can prove your identity. If you lose it and wander around the treasury, you will die in vain. No one will save you. Elder Titan warned. Elder, where do we usually live? Where do we live? Someone asked. They're all in the outer hall. Elder Titan replied. The outer hall's treasury is divided into two parts. One is the treasury, and the other is the guard's living quarters. There's a courtyard for you to live in and a public canteen. In the future, you will eat, drink, and poop there. Every week, you will have 2 days off. You will take turns to guard the treasury. If there are holidays, you can take them off depending on the situation. Anyway, you don't have to worry too much. This is a leisurely job. For millions of years, no one has attacked the treasury. It is very safe. Many people from the illusion race laughed. They were very relaxed. That was indeed the case. First of all, the illusion race would not attack. After all, they knew how terrifying the treasury was. Anyone who dared to enter such a forbidden area would die without a doubt. Secondly, it was impossible for outsiders to know where the illusion race's nest was. Even if they wanted to attack, they would not be able to find a location. In this way, the treasury was very safe. For many years, no one had dared to attack it. It was also because of this that being a guard in this place was simply a cushy job. There was money, free time, holidays, and a stipend. There was no better job than this. Countless people would break their heads, try to get in. You have a month to familiarize yourself with the surroundings of the treasury. After a month, you will start working. So cherish this leisure time. Not long after, Elder Titan brought everyone to the living area of the outer palace. This place had many luxurious courtyards built. Everyone had their own independent courtyard to live in, and they would not be disturbed by others. Life was very luxurious. Thank you, Elder Titan. Everyone cupped their hands. After saying this, the gray-robed elder nodded and left. Everyone was very excited. They found their own rooms, then used their tokens to open the restrictive formation of the courtyard and moved in. They did not need to fight over it, because every courtyard had already been divided. Xiaoping was the leader of this group, so he naturally had the best courtyard. It was like a villa. He entered the courtyard and took over the restrictive formation of the entire courtyard. Tonight, I have to find a chance to test the situation in the inner hall. After settling down, Xiaoping touched his chin and thought about his next plan. Chapter 2178. Late at night, everyone went to sleep. In the dead of night, Xiaoping used the formless mask to hide his aura. He blended into the void and quietly left his courtyard, heading for the inner palace of the treasury. Along the way, No one knew that Xia Ping had passed by or left. Not even Elder Titan and the other experts had noticed. This was the magic of the formless mask. It was almost as powerful as the laws. After a day of understanding, Xia Ping finally understood the difference between the inner palace and the outer palace. Although they were said to be the inner palace and the outer palace, they weren't actually in the same place. The two palaces were separated by layers of constantly twisting space. They were surrounded by restrictive matrices. If an ordinary person approached, they would be discovered immediately. Moreover, if one wasn't proficient in restrictive matrices, they would be forever lost in this spatial maze, never to come out. Even Elder Titan, who had lived for tens of thousands of years, didn't know much about the mysteries of the inner palace. It was a forbidden place that only sages could set foot in. It was one of the most important places of the illusion race. If an ordinary person faced such a situation, they would have given up long ago. It was a forbidden place that was impossible to enter. But Xia Ping was different. He used the golden crow's eye of hell to see through the restrictive matrices. He could see the flaws of the countless restrictive matrices, allowing him to easily avoid them. The so-called spatial maze couldn't stop his pace at all. Whoosh! An hour later, Xia Ping's figure flickered into the void. He easily jumped through the layers of space, passed through countless traps, and finally arrived at the inner palace. Is this the inner palace of the treasury? With a whoosh, Xia Ping jumped out of the spatial mezzanine and came to the square of a luxurious palace. He carefully hid in the depths of the void, secretly observing the place. The inner palace of the treasury seemed to be in an independent space. It was a small plain world, and the entire palace occupied a small plain world. The walls of the Golden Palace were practically impenetrable. They seemed to be made of rare materials in the universe. They were as hard as sage artifacts, and ordinary power couldn't break them at all. Even a low-grade sage artifact's full power attack could only leave some marks on the walls. Most importantly, there were many restrictive matrices engraved around the walls, communicating with the power of countless dimensions. If one wanted to break a wall, they would need to deal with the restrictive power of the entire palace. This also increased the defense of the entire palace to an outrageous level, as if it was a turtle shell without any gaps. At this moment, the door of the inner palace was tightly shut. There was not a single guard around, and no one else came in or out of this place. The entrance was strictly guarded, and the courtyard was deserted, as if it would never receive any guests. Generally speaking, only saints or people who had made great contributions were qualified to enter the inner hall. There might not even be one such person in a long time, so it was not as lively as the outer hall. It doesn't seem that difficult to get in. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Although the inner hall was filled with layers of restrictive arrays and was like an impenetrable fortress, an ordinary person would be helpless against it. However, he was different. With the existence of the golden slime, it had the characteristic of devouring everything. As long as it was willing, it could devour any material. Even the walls of this palace were no exception. The problem was that those who wanted to enter the inner hall of the treasury were not only restricted by the existence of these formations, but also some old monsters. There's a saint suppressing this place. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. His golden crow's hell eyes saw through the void, and his deep gaze penetrated the countless restrictive matrices within the palace. No wall could obstruct his gaze. He immediately sensed that there were more than 10 powerful auras in the depths of the treasury. They were at least near ancient saint level, and there were even middle ancient saints and immemorial saints. This was a dragon's lair and tiger's den. It could be said that the strongest defense of the treasury wasn't the restrictive matrices, but the terrifying old monsters that guarded the treasury. If he tried to barge in, these old monsters would instantly discover his tracks and launch a thunderous attack, beating him to a fate worse than death. He clearly remembered that when he fought against a near-ancient saint, even the aftermath of the attack had severely injured him. This was an unstoppable power. If it was a middle-ancient saint or even an immemorial saint, then he would be dead for sure. No matter how many lives he had, it wouldn't be enough. There really are many treasures in this place. Xiaoping was drooling as he looked at the situation in the inner palace. He realized that the inner palace was divided into 99 areas, and each area seemed to have some universal-level treasures. There was no lack of low-grade, middle-grade, and even high-grade sacred weapons. Other than that, there seemed to be universal-level rare materials placed in some areas. For example, the sound runestones that he yearned for were placed in one area. They were piled up like a mountain and emitted waves of magical sound waves from time to time. If he could get these sound runestones, he could immediately forge the Bell of Chaos into his sacred weapon. No, I can't be impulsive. I have to think of a way to lure these old monsters away. Otherwise, I won't stand a chance at all. I'll probably be torn apart by these old monsters as soon as I go in. Xiaoping touched his chin and suppressed his restless heart. He was thinking about the feasibility of this matter. If he wanted these old monsters guarding the treasures to leave, he would need something big enough to alarm the entire illusion race, forcing them to leave the inner palace and participate in the battle. This way, he would have the opportunity to enter the inner palace and plunder without restraint, obtaining endless benefits. He couldn't imagine to what extent his wealth would skyrocket if he plundered all these treasures. Oh, right. If I tell them about the illusion race and the abyss demons colluding with each other, or even the location of the illusion race's nest, then the illusion race will be doomed. They will definitely be attacked by the human clan, or even all the other races in the universe. Xiaoping knew that colluding with the abyss demons was an unforgivable crime in the universe. No matter which race it was, they hated traitors and traitors the most. Everyone wanted to get rid of them as soon as possible. He remembered that in the immemorial era, the abyss demons had brought a great catastrophe to the entire universe. Although ordinary people had already forgotten such a painful lesson, the sages who had lived for countless years would never forget it. They constantly remembered how terrifying the abyss demons were, and they had to prevent the abyss demons from making a comeback. Now that there was a race colluding with the abyss demons, they would probably immediately be enraged. It would be fine if they didn't know about this, but once they did, the illusion race wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Even if they didn't die, they would suffer great losses. Whoosh! Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately left the inner palace silently. He had already obtained enough information. All that was left was to start the next step of his plan. Chapter 2179. Just as Xiaoping was about to leave, a voice rang out from the depths of the treasury, emitting a bewildered voice. "What's the matter, old ancestor?" Many sages asked. The illusion race old ancestor had been cultivating in seclusion and rarely woke up. There was a strange feeling just now, as if someone was spying on our place, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. However, in the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. This old man couldn't find any trace of it, so I don't know where it came from. The voice said, "There's actually such a thing? Let me check it out." Several illusion race sages looked solemn. This actually made an Archean sage have such doubts. They immediately took action, and their terrifying divine senses permeated every corner within a radius of tens of thousands of light years. It could be said that within such a search range, no matter what dimensional space one was in, one would not be able to escape from their search. This was simply all-seeing, and there was nowhere to hide. The entire illusory realm had been scanned by them. However, after a while, they found nothing. The surrounding void was still silent, and there was nothing. This situation also alarmed the other sages in the illusion, and they all asked what happened. "Old ancestor, we didn't find anything strange, and there are no enemies hiding." Several illusion race sages reported. "Maybe it's just my imagination. Sometimes when people get old, they tend to have a lot of illusions like a whim." The voice sighed. Even an Archean sage like him couldn't detect a gaze. There were probably not many people in the entire universe. Since he couldn't find anything, it must be his illusion. He didn't believe that there was anyone in this world who could avoid his search, not even a sage. The other sages also nodded. In fact, they also didn't believe that there was anyone in this world who could approach the place where they were without a sound. The reason why they searched was just to relax. Now that they couldn't find anything, they naturally wouldn't continue to pursue it. Then, they warned the other alarmed sages, saying that it was just a whim of the old ancestor, and it was not a big deal. For a time, the entire treasury returned to its previous calm, leaving only a few sages cultivating in peace. From time to time, there were unfathomable cosmic vortexes coming from the depths of the void. At this time, Xiaoping had quietly returned to his residence in the outer hall of the treasury. No one around him noticed that he had left his residence. Let's go back to Yanhuang's star first. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. His figure flashed and returned to the space of the Mountain River Pearl. Then, through the space channel of the Mountain River Pearl, he directly returned to Yanhuang's star. The reason why he needed to return to Yanhuang planet was that he couldn't use any universe virtual network in the fantasy world. It was probably because the illusion race were afraid that their nest would be exposed, so they refused to use the universe virtual network. They could only use it when they left the illusion world. After all, the universe virtual network was the crystallization of humanity's intelligence. Any race that used it would leave a mark on it. Even though the human race said that they were fair and wouldn't use the universe virtual network to do anything and protect everyone's privacy, the illusion sage didn't dare believe such a promise. In reality, some of the saints of the top races wouldn't use the universe virtual network if they didn't need to, afraid that they would leave any traces or blackmail on the human race. Hence, the fantasy world was a place where the internet was banned. No one was allowed to use the universe virtual network. However, they had their own internal network, similar to a local area network, allowing them to communicate with each other. Of course, it wasn't as magical as the universe virtual network. Therefore, to facilitate contact with the outside world, Xiaoping returned to Yanhuang planet. Corinne, how do you think I should pass on this news to the human race? Xiaoping originally planned to use his identity to pass on the news to the human race's holy land of Taichu, which was the most convenient and fastest way. However, he needed to plunder the illusion race's treasure house. If his identity as Xiaoping was leaked, then it would not be very convenient to act, and he might be targeted. Therefore, he was caught in a dilemma. Don't worry, the human race has an intelligence network throughout the universe. People call it the dark net. Corinne smiled slightly. This is an extremely huge intelligence network organization, responsible for providing intelligence to countless people. As long as you have money, you can buy all kinds of intelligence. Even if you have any special intelligence, the dark net will give you generous rewards according to the rarity of the intelligence. This is an intelligence trading organization. If you want to leak the news of the fantasy world, you can use the darknet intelligence system, and you may even make a lot of money because of this. After all, the specific location of the fantasy world is a mystery for thousands of years. Countless people can't find its whereabouts, but countless people desperately want to seek revenge on the illusion race. So the bounty is extremely high. I see. Then how can I contact the darknet? Xiaoping asked. When Old Master was still alive, he had a darknet account. You should be able to log in so that people from the darknet can trade. This account is anonymous and will not expose your identity, Corinne said in a deep voice. After saying that, he handed over the darknet account to Xiaoping. Xiaoping operated it a little and immediately understood. With a whoosh, his consciousness immediately appeared in the universe virtual network. However, at this moment, his whole body was surrounded by a mass of black fog, as if it was a mess, and no one could detect his real body. In the next second, he appeared in a unique virtual world. This was not a low-level city, a middle-level city, or a high-level city, but a dark world from the virtual network called the Darknet. Xiaoping appeared in a strange castle, and the pedestrians passing by were basically like him, their whole body wrapped in a mass of black fog, and their true faces could not be seen clearly. The surrounding people came and went very mysteriously, trading with the people in this place. Sir, what can I help you with? At this time, a waitress with an appearance similar to an elf came over. She was the receptionist of this place. I want to sell information, Xiaoping said. However, his voice was very hoarse, as if it had been distorted by the darknet, making people unable to distinguish what his original voice was like. Selling information? The waitress's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. I wonder what level of information it is. The dark net was very eager for all kinds of information in the universe. After all, this was the largest intelligence organization of the human race, and every piece of information had a great use. If they knew it before others, they would definitely obtain great benefits. Chapter 2180. It should be the highest level of information about the location of the illusion world. Xiaoping said lightly. What? The location of the illusion world? Hearing this, the waitress was shocked. She had worked in this place for a long time, so she naturally knew how important this information was. Countless organizations and forces in the universe wanted to know where the illusion world was, but after countless years, even the sages couldn't find it. Now, someone actually knew where the illusion world was. Once this news got out, it would be earth-shattering. Please wait a moment. I'll ask the supervisor to come and receive you. The waitress didn't hesitate. She immediately informed her most senior supervisor because, according to her identity, she couldn't receive such an important guest. At the same time, she couldn't know such top-secret information. This was professional ethics. Not long after, an old man in a black robe walked over. His small eyes emitted bursts of light, and his aura was very powerful. He was a sage. Friend, please come with me to the VIP room. This place isn't suitable for talking. The black-robed old man waved his hand, and with a whoosh, the virtual space suddenly changed. Xiaoping was suddenly teleported to a VIP room, leaving only him and the black-robed old man. Friend, I have to warn you in advance. The black-robed old man stared at Xiaoping. This place is called the Honest Space. It contains a powerful power of law. If anyone dares to lie here, they will immediately be attacked by the power of law. Even a sage will die, so if you plan to lie, then you'd better leave now. I won't care about your reckless behavior. Do you understand now? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He sensed that he seemed to be in a strange space between the virtual and the real. It contained the unfathomable power of the law of the universe. Obviously, this was a unique space in the universe's virtual network. It contained the crystallization of the supreme wisdom of the human race and had a terrifying power that could threaten sages. This was probably one of the ways the dark net confirmed whether the information was true or not. Don't worry. Everything I said is true. There's absolutely no falsehood. Xiaoping was calm and composed. Very good. Since you're confident, I won't stop you. The value of this information is extraordinary. If it's true, you can obtain a medium-quality Saint artifact, or a reward equivalent to a medium-quality Saint artifact, Jianshin said with a smile. The black-robed old man stated the price of this information. Xiaoping nodded, expressing that he was satisfied with the reward, so he told them what he knew. At the same time, he also told them about the collusion between the illusion race and the abyssal demons, indicating that many of their sages had already turned into the abyss. Hearing this, the black-robed elder remained expressionless, but his heart was greatly shaken. It was as if he had experienced a violent storm, and he was unable to calm down for a long time. Because regardless of whether it was the specific location of the illusion realm or the collusion between the illusion race and the abyss demons, there was no doubt that this was news that could shake the entire universe. Is what he said true? The black-robed old man secretly transmitted his voice to an unknown existence in another space. There's no reaction from the honest space, which proves that what he said is true, but whether it's the truth or not still needs to be verified. After all, he might have been tricked. A voice came down. Very good. I already know about this news. However, we still need to investigate whether it is true or not. If it is confirmed to be true, then the reward will be sent to you immediately. The black-robed elder said in a deep voice. No problem. Xiaoping nodded. He believed in the credibility of the human race's dark net. For countless years, he had never heard of the dark net cheating others of their rewards. Of course, his main purpose was to spread this news and let the illusion race suffer. As for whether there would be a reward or not, it was not a big problem. Where did you get this information from? You should know that the location of the illusion realm has always been erratic, and even sages can't find it. The black-robed elder asked curiously. This is my secret. All right, the deal is done. I will leave now. Xiaoping smiled slightly. Of course, he could not answer this kind of thing. After saying that, he directly left the dark net and returned to Yanwang Planet. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When Xiaoping left, more than a dozen figures immediately appeared in this space. They were all the higher-ups of a human race's dark net, and all of them were terrifying existences of the sage level. What do you think about this matter? If it is true, it must be a major event that will shock the universe. That's right. Previously, we only suspected that the illusion race colluded with the demons of the abyss, but that was only a suspicion. There was no evidence. If the illusion race really defected to the abyss and became traitors with the power of the illusion race, they will definitely be able to cause irreparable damage to all the races in the universe. The illusion race's transformation ability is too terrifying. Ordinary people can't even see through their true form. Once a war breaks out, the illusion race's ability will definitely cause us great trouble. The war with the abyss is imminent. We must not let the illusion race destroy our plan. Immediately inform the old ancestor. This matter is no longer something we can solve. Yes, let the old ancestor take action personally. With the strength of the old ancestor, he should be able to investigate this matter clearly. Please be careful. The illusion race has terrifying existences of the immemorial sage level, and there may even be immemorial demons hiding. If the illusion race counterattacks before they die, it will be troublesome. More than a dozen figures were discussing, their faces very solemn. They knew how terrifying the illusion race's ability was. If they reached the sage level, their transformation ability would be even more terrifying, and they could almost understand the mysteries of the human body. Even they might not be able to find the true body of the illusion race's sage. If during a war, the illusion race's sage transformed into one of the upper echelons of the human race, but they did not know about it, then the losses would be unimaginable. Because of this, all the races in the universe were extremely afraid of the illusion race. This was a strange and terrifying race that could affect the safety of countless races. It was said that the illusion race was one of the powerful races that walked out of the strange regions of the central universe. But who was the person who sent this information? How can he have such important information? Even we have searched so hard, but we still couldn't find the location of the illusion world. Someone was curious about Xiaoping's identity. The person logged in with a darknet account, so there's no way to find his true body. Perhaps the old ancestor who has the ultimate authority of a universe virtual network would know, but we don't have enough authority. Forget it. Although I'm curious about this person's identity, that's not the most important thing. Indeed, no matter what, if this information is true, then it will be a great help to us. This person is a friend, not an enemy. Everyone nodded. They immediately took action and sent this information back to the upper echelons of the human race. Chapter 2181. In a mysterious place in the upper echelons of the human clan. This was the highest hall of the human clan. At this moment, dozens of shadows appeared in the hall. They had all received the news and had projected themselves here from all over the universe. I heard that the exact location of the illusion plane has been found. Is this true? Intelligence analysis. After the darknet's analysis, this news has a 70% chance of being true. If it's true, this information must not be leaked. The reason why the Phantom World is so hard to find is that it can move at any time. Once the Phantom race discovers any movement, it will immediately escape and hide for tens of millions of years before coming out again. Indeed, the illusion race's intelligence is too terrifying. I'm afraid all the major races have their spies. Last time, we were lucky enough to get news of the illusion plane. But before the operation began, the illusion race found out and all our efforts were in vain. The human saints discussed this with serious expressions. After so many years, it wasn't that they hadn't found the illusion plane's location. In fact, there had been people who had found it by chance. But they hadn't expected that there would be spies from the illusion race among the various races and even the upper echelons of the human clan. The news had been leaked, and the illusion race had escaped, only reappearing after billions of years. It could be said that the illusory race was an extremely cunning race. If they sensed that something was wrong, they would flee far away. They would not appear in front of people for a long time until people forgot about their threat. This was the illusion race's way of survival. Because they were afraid that this news would be leaked, they strictly controlled it. The saints who attended the meeting had all been tested. They couldn't be spies from the illusion race. According to this information, the illusion race seems to be colluding with the demons from the abyss. They might even be corrupted by the abyss. An ancient saint said, "What? Something like this has happened? It seems that the illusion race has really become traitors. They must be eliminated immediately. Damn it, this is the way to die. The illusion race dares to do such a disgraceful thing. Stupid illusion race. Don't they know that they can't cooperate with the abyss? They're the enemies of all races, and they've been corrupted by the abyss. How stupid. We can't let the illusion race go. Once they've been corrupted by the abyss, they'll be like a plague that can spread quickly." Many of the saints were enraged. This matter was more than 100 times more serious than discovering the location of the illusory race. There was actually a race that was colluding with the abyss. This was a betrayal of all the races in the world and made them the public enemy of all races. This was unforgivable. Fortunately, they discovered it in time. Otherwise, if they discovered it later and the abyss started a war, they would probably suffer severe losses. However, this information only has a 70% chance of being true. We still need to be cautious. We need someone to go there and investigate. However, we can't let the illusion race discover us and alert them. A sage said in a deep voice, "I'll go." Just at this moment, a voice rang out from the depths of the void. Following that, an elderly man in white robes walked out. Even though he was clearly standing in this space, it was as though he had transcended it. He himself seemed to represent a world. His body emitted a terrifying power of laws, constantly contending against the laws of the universe. It was strange, yet harmonious and unfathomable. Xiaoyao, ancestral master. Seeing the white-robed old man, the saints were all in awe because this white-robed old man was one of the supreme experts of a human clan. He had reached the invincible saint realm. If Ancestral Master personally investigates, the illusion race won't be able to find us even if they have great abilities. The saints were full of confidence. Obviously, they admired the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master's strength. This was almost the peak combat force of the universe and a horrifying existence on the level of a true overlord. Then I'll go and have a look. The white-robed old man chuckled and stroked his white beard. Then he waved his hand lightly and seemed to draw a mysterious talisman that contained endless power of laws. Instantly, the mysterious talisman turned into a black and white air current that absorbed the power of yin and yang. Finally, it condensed into a black and white fish that was about the size of a palm and looked extremely mysterious. "Go!" The white-robed old man, the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master, patted it lightly. The small fish waved its tail lightly and easily merged into the void, easily crossing countless layers of the dimension space. To this small fish, these layers of the dimension space were nothing. Swoosh! Soon, the small black and white fish arrived at the illusion realm. Looking down from above, waves of invisible waves spread out and enveloped the entire illusion realm. However, no one could detect such a wave. Not even the sages could sense it. This was a mysterious power that surpassed everything else. Swoosh! After getting this information, the small black and white fish swayed again and quickly returned to the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master's hand, merging into the depths of his body. Right. This information is indeed true. The illusion realm is indeed in that place. It seems that it hasn't moved for a long time. The Xiaoyao Ancestral Master stroked his white beard, and a glint of light appeared in his eyes. Ancestral Master, did the people of the illusion race really join the abyss? An ancient saint asked. Indeed, more than half of the illusion realm was corroded by the power of the abyss. Almost all the saints of the illusion race became members of the abyss, the Xiaoyao ancestral master said in a deep voice. Damn the illusion race. They really became traitors. Ancestral master, we should immediately send out troops to wipe out those traitors. Whoever dares to become a vassal of the abyss will be the public enemy of all races and will have their entire family killed. The group of saints scolded angrily. Don't be in a hurry. I can sense the unfathomable power in the illusion realm. If we go there rashly, I'm afraid that many of them will slip through the net. We must send troops and kill all the traitors. The Xiaoyao ancestral master's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. There are many saints of the illusion race, and there might even be demons from the abyss lurking among them. This force is not to be underestimated. If we want to wipe out all the traitors, we must send all the saints from all races in the world. But if we send troops like this, we'll make too much noise and might be noticed by the illusion race. The saints looked grim. It doesn't matter. In my name, we'll hold a meeting of saints and preach. I'm sure we can invite many saints. The Xiaoyao ancestral master smiled faintly. When the meeting begins, I'll pretend to preach and secretly ask the old, undying Empyrean ancestral master to use his power and teleport to the place of the illusion realm. By then, those traitors will have a hard time escaping. As expected of the Xiaoyao ancestral master. He's indeed a sly old fox. The saints were impressed. What did you say? The Xiaoyao ancestral master glared at the saints. No. We said that ancestral master is extremely smart and unrivaled, right? He can predict the enemy from 1,000 kilometers away and win the battle from 1,000 kilometers away, right? Those brats of the illusion race are like babies in front of ancestral master. They're not worth mentioning at all. The saints sweated profusely and hurried to flatter him. You flatter me. I'm not as smart as you say. It's just a small trick, and it's not even 1/10,000th of my wisdom. The Xiaoyao ancestral master stroked his white beard smugly. The saints remained silent and criticized silently. Ancestral master was so powerful that they couldn't afford to offend him. Please remember the domain name of this book. Third Sect Leaders Mobile Version. Chapter 2182. A day later, Xiaoping received the news from the Darknet. His information had been verified and confirmed to be 100% true. The Darknet had already given him a reward. With a swoosh, his soul entered the Darknet's virtual space once more. A bald old man appeared before him. He was one of the people in charge of the Darknet. Friend, your information is indeed true. You will be able to obtain a mid-grade sage artifact. This is a list of many mid-grade sage artifacts. You can choose any one of them. The bald old man nodded lightly, and a holographic projection appeared before Xiaoping. There were many mid-grade sage artifacts listed on it, as well as a large amount of information about them. Xiaoping took a quick look. There were at least tens of thousands of them. One could imagine how rich the Darknet was. Even sage artifacts seemed to be worthless. Of course, if you don't want a sage artifact and need other treasures, you can tell us. We will do our best to satisfy you, but the price must be equivalent to a mid-grade sage artifact. We won't give you anything beyond that. The bald old man looked at Xiaoping. In that case, I will need a large number of sound grain stones. I wonder if you have any here? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at the bald old man. Originally, he had wanted to obtain a large number of sound grain stones from the illusion race's treasury. However, he was a little impatient now. If he could obtain enough sound grain stones from the Darknet, he would be able to increase the power of his natal artifact right now. He was getting closer and closer to breaking through to the sempiternal realm. The lightning tribulation could descend at any time. This was a great tribulation. He had to be careful and use all the means at his disposal to increase his strength. Sound grainstone is a special or produced in the central universe's fortuitous encounter zone. It contains the mysterious power of sound waves. It's an excellent material for forging sage artifacts. The bald old man thought for a moment and said, "It's not impossible if you want to exchange for sound grainstones. A mid-grade sage artifact is roughly equivalent to 100 kilograms of sound grainstones. Are you willing to accept it?" He gave a price. Although the sound pattern stone was indeed a rare ore, it was nothing to the rich and overbearing human race. Sure. Xiaoping was overwhelmed with emotions when he heard that. 100 kilograms of sound pattern stones were more than enough for him to upgrade the Bell of Chaos to a low-grade Sage artifact. It would naturally be better for the Chaos Bell if he could have more sound pattern stones. However, 100 kilograms of sound pattern stones were more than enough for him to forge magic treasures at the moment. All right, since that's the case, let's seal the deal. These sound pattern stones belong to you. If you have any more information in the future, feel free to contact us on the Darknet. We guarantee that we will give you the best price. The bald old man wanted a rope in this mysterious person. Regardless of how this mysterious person obtained the information about the illusion realm, he definitely had a mysterious channel that no one knew about. He was someone worth roping in. Of course. Xiaoping nodded. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a boom, and a black hole appeared beside Xiaoping. It turned from illusory to corporeal, and a spatial ring appeared. There were exactly 100 kilograms of sound pattern stones inside. He immediately caught the space ring and left the universe virtual network. I've finally obtained the sound pattern stone. Xiaoping was very excited. He didn't care how the humans would deal with the illusion race. Even if they wanted to deal with the illusion race, it wouldn't be something that could happen in a short period of time. They would definitely need to deploy troops. This would give him some time to buffer. At the same time, he gave the formless mask to Corinne and let Corinne transform into Barty and replace him as the treasure guard. This would prevent him from being discovered when he was not in this place. If anything happened, Corinne could also remind him at any time. Taking advantage of this time, he began to forge his life treasure, the Chaos Bell. A few days later, on an uninhabited planet near planet Yanwang. At this moment, the entire planet had become Xiaoping's forging site. On a vast plain, a huge and majestic bell stood there. There were countless mysterious patterns carved on it, as if countless birds and beasts had appeared. Rumble. At this time, Xiaoping used the infernal golden crow flames. His whole body was emitting a dark golden deviant flame. The flames burned for billions of kilometers, as if the planet had become the sun. Anyone who approached this place would be burned to ashes. Hundreds of kilograms of sound stone, under the burning of the infernal golden crow flames, turned into a bronze-colored metal liquid. Each drop of liquid contained wonderful power. Splash, the bronze-colored liquid, under Xiaoping's control, quickly merged into the depths of the Chaos Bell. The Chaos Bell was like a greedy beast, absorbing the power of the sound stone. Dong dong dong. Xiaoping used the distant fire forging technique to constantly temper the Chaos Bell. He rearranged all its materials and all the restrictive arrays inside, quenched the impurities, and stimulated all of its power. One after another, restrictive arrays were engraved inside. As he continued to strike, the Chaos Bell became more and more magical. Vaguely, a transcendent aura emanated from the inside of the Chaos Bell, as if it was about to transcend. Wisps of chaos airflow spread out from its body. Each wisp of chaos aura was as heavy as Mount Tai, enough to crush a mountain. It contained a terrifying gravity. Clang, clang, clang. Suddenly, the Chaos Bell began to shake without any wind. With its body as the center, rings of sound waves were produced in a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. They condensed and formed countless ripples like ocean waves. Such sound waves were boundless. Terrifying cracks appeared on the planets within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers, and countless terrifying ravines appeared on the ground. Such sound waves even contained the power to destroy souls. They affected the matter in the void, and even the surrounding space seemed to be shattered. Terrifying spatial cracks appeared. After fusing with the power of the Sound Stone, the Chaos Bell's attack power increased by at least 10 times. Its materials contained the various characteristics of the Sound Stone. Many ripples vaguely appeared on the surface of the Chaos Bell. One after another, each pattern seemed to contain the nomological power of the Sound Dao. This was the mysterious power in the depths of the Sound Stone. The reason why the Sound Stone had the power to destroy souls was that it contained the nomological power of Sound Path. Now, All of it was absorbed by the Chaos Bell and fused into one. Ordinary magic treasures could not fuse with the Soundstone, nor could they devour all the power of the Soundstone. However, the Chaos Bell was different. It was a powerful magic treasure with the chaotic pure gold as its foundation. It had the characteristics of containing all metal substances. No matter how strange the Soundstone was, it could not compare to the chaotic pure gold, a treasure that came from the depths of chaos. Please remember this book's domain name. Third Sect Leader's Mobile Version. Chapter 2183. It has leveled up. It has leveled up to an inferior grade sage artifact. Suddenly, Xiaoping was enlightened. He integrated all the sound rune stones into the Bell of Chaos, increasing the power of this Dharma treasure to an unprecedented level. The entire Bell of Chaos underwent a huge transformation. It kept shaking and emitting a vibrating sound. Such sound waves seemed to resonate with his body, his dharmic powers, and his soul. It was like the tiger-leopard thunder of a warrior, cleansing him from the inside out. Dong, dong, dong. As the sound waves continued to vibrate, Xiaoping sensed that his essence, spirit, and body had completely integrated into one. Every wisp of soul power and every cell seemed to be in perfect harmony. He had reached the realm of spirit and body as one. The various barriers between the spirit and the body had all disappeared. It was perfect and had fused as one. In an instant, he felt that his essence spirit seemed to have undergone a rebirth. He sensed that he was close to the other side of the sea of bitterness and was about to condense his true spirit. I see. I'm going to level up too. At this moment, Xiaoping felt like he had achieved the Tao and was about to ascend. When he forged his natal Dharma treasure, the Bell of Chaos, into a sage artifact, he also used the magical power of the Bell of Chaos to completely eradicate the barriers between his soul and body. They were integrated into one, and spirit and body as one. He felt that his essence spirit was at the edge of the sea of bitterness. The originally indestructible barrier was suddenly shattered like glass by a gentle punch from him. Then, Xiaoping crossed the sea of bitterness. His huge body jumped out of the depths of the sea of bitterness and reached the shore. This is transcendence. This is reaching the other side. Xiaoping felt that his soul seemed to have transcended at this moment. His soul was everywhere and could penetrate into every space-time. It was integrated into the depths of the universe and went deep into the source. His soul was free from the limitations of lifespan, the restraints of the 5 elements, and the restrictions of space. He was everywhere and omnipotent. It was as if all restrictions had been removed. His thoughts were unprecedentedly active. Even the computing speed of an AI might not be as fast as he was now. The sparks of his thoughts were too fast. He kept calculating, and he even felt that he could see a little of the future. Xiaoping's primordial spirit stood on the other side of the river. Beneath its feet was a vast river that surged and flowed. It had no beginning and no end. It was boundless. There were countless fishes living in the river. They kept struggling, but they couldn't jump out. Once their lifespans were up, these fish would sink into the depths of the river. It seemed to be the fate of all living beings. Only by transcending this river could one completely control one's destiny. Without a doubt, this was the river of destiny. The Dharma treasure tribulation is here, and the thunder tribulation is also. At this time, Xiaoping raised his head. In the depths of the void, a terrifying black vortex with a diameter of 10 light years had appeared. It was humming, brewing a terrifying calamity. It seemed to have already communicated with the origin of the universe. This tribulation wasn't just about ascending to the immortal realm. It was also about the Chaos Bell's magic treasure tribulation. Since the Bell of Chaos was his intrinsic Dharma treasure, this Dharma treasure tribulation was also counted on him. When the two terrifying tribulations overlapped, the power unleashed was simply unimaginable. What kind of disaster is this? Xiaoping sensed that the depths of the void seemed to have gathered the terrifying powers of earth, wind, water, fire, and many others. This was a great calamity that he had never seen before. If he could not withstand it, he would die. This was the malice of the universe's origin. Master, be careful. This is the tribulation of the four symbols. It was at this moment that the azure ox exclaimed in horror, "Unbelievable! The tribulation of the four phenomenons is practically a legendary tribulation for one to reach the sempiternal realm. How did our master encounter it? This is simply unheard of." It simply couldn't believe its own eyes, because the tribulation of the four symbols had only appeared in legends. It was definitely the birth of a monster, an ominous existence that was hated by the heavens and earth. Once the tribulation of the four symbols appeared, it meant that the person facing the tribulation was doomed. It could be said that no one had ever survived the tribulation of the four symbols since ancient times. What is the four symbols tribulation? Xiaoping asked. The so-called tribulation of the four symbols represents four terrifying tribulations. The first is the Yellow Springs tribulation water. The second is the Vermilion bird tribulation fire. The third is the Sky demon tribulation earth. And the fourth is the 9 underworld tribulation wind. The azure ox said solemnly, "These four tribulations are each more terrifying than the last. Ordinary lightning tribulation realm cultivators would die if they couldn't even withstand the first tribulation. Even immortal sages wouldn't be able to withstand the fourth tribulation. Even immortal sages wouldn't be able to withstand the 9 underworlds tribulation wind. Once it appears, even immortal sages would be reduced to ashes." The azure ox was incomparably shocked, because even immortal sages would die if such a tribulation descended. Yet, it had actually appeared on a peak lightning tribulation realm cultivator. This was simply impossible, although it also knew that its master was extremely monstrous and rarely seen in the world. It couldn't possibly encounter such a terrifying tribulation that was practically impossible to resolve. I see. In that case, as long as I can withstand the tribulation of the four symbols, I'll be able to reach the immortal realm, right? Xiaoping clenched his fist. The azure ox didn't know what to say. If he could withstand it, he would indeed be able to ascend to the immortal sage. The problem was that with such a terrifying tribulation descending, could he still withstand it? Moreover, he could only rely on himself to withstand such a tribulation. Others couldn't help him at all. The azure ox could only pray in its heart. This terrifying tribulation power immediately permeated into the mountain river pearl space, allowing all living beings in the space to sense the tribulation of the four symbols descending from the outside world. Fei, crow demon bird, 9-headed lion, amethyst tiger, and other primordial species also sensed this tribulation. My God, how can this human's cultivation speed be so fast? In the blink of an eye, he's actually about to undergo the final lightning tribulation and ascend to the immortal realm. This is too ridiculous. Many primordial species were dumbfounded. They had cultivated for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, but they were only struggling at the lightning tribulation realm. Some of them were even at the avatar realm. Although the human's cultivation speed was indeed faster than the primordial species, it couldn't be this fast, right? Look, that's the tribulation of the four symbols, the legendary supreme tribulation. A lightning tribulation that will definitely kill you, but that Wu Wudi actually encountered it. The heavens really have eyes, knowing that this bastard is a bandit. Even the heavens have to strike him to death. Fei immediately burst into laughter. It was in a good mood as it recognized the origin of this tribulation. My God, it really is the tribulation of the four symbols. Unimaginable. This human is indeed a monster of the world. Even the heavens want to destroy him. One should know that even the immortal sages will die if they encounter this tribulation of the four symbols. Since ancient times, no one has been able to survive it. This kid is done for. Finally, this evil human is done for. When he's dead, I'll divide the treasures of this world and inherit this human's wealth. Many primordial species were wild with joy, especially Fei and crow demon bird. Their eyes lit up as they felt that they had finally made it out of this predicament. Please remember this book's domain name. Third Sect Leaders Mobile Version. Chapter 2184. Rumble. At this moment, a terrifying energy burst out from the depths of the tribulation clouds. In an instant, the space within thousands of light years was torn apart. Terrifying spatial cracks and space-time wormholes appeared. From the depths of these spatial cracks and space-time wormholes, boundless tribulation water gushed out, as if it was going to drown the entire star region. It's really the Yellow Springs tribulation water. The Azure Ox was shocked. It saw that the tribulation water was yellow in color, as if it contained countless grains of sand. It gushed out from the spatial cracks and wormholes in all directions, dyeing the entire star region a dirt yellow color. No living being could stop the tribulation water from spreading out. Furthermore, the tribulation water also contained terrifying corrosive properties, causing countless wormholes to appear in the surrounding void. Aha, this human is dead for sure. Faye jumped up in excitement when he saw this scene. This is the real Yellow Springs tribulation water. It's said to be the Yellow Springs River from the depths of hell. It's extremely terrifying. Something like this can destroy the world and drown the void. Wherever the Yellow Springs tribulation water goes, everything will turn into dust. Even immortal sages can't withstand it. Their souls will sink into the Yellow Springs. Looks like this human has already incurred the jealousy of heaven and earth and the rejection of the universe. That's why such an earth-shattering tribulation has appeared, drawing the Yellow Springs tribulation water to kill him. The primordial species looked at the Yellow Springs tribulation water in shock. If they weren't in the space of the mountain River Pearl, but the void outside, they would be drowned in an instant. This was the Yellow Springs tribulation water that even immortal sages feared like a tiger. It was rumored that when a world was about to be destroyed, it would communicate with the essence of the universe and receive the Yellow Springs of hell. The Yellow Springs tribulation water would flood in and drown the entire world. It would cover the layers of the void until every corner of the world was submerged, and every living being would be completely annihilated. After that, the world would be submerged in the Yellow Springs River. Everything would be melted and turned into origin matter. After an unknown number of years, the Yellow Springs tribulation water would recede, and the world would slowly recover and regain its vitality. It could be said that this was the water of apocalypse. It was extremely terrifying. This is too terrifying to actually encounter the Yellow Springs tribulation water while advancing to the immortal realm. Rumor has it that this is practically the highest level of calamity. It is of the legendary level and is extremely rare. Once one encounters it, death is certain. Just what in the world did this human do to deserve the wrath of the Yellow Springs tribulation? This is too shocking. I've only heard of such a calamity from the patriarchs, but I've never seen it before. Who has seen it? Isn't this crazy? Even undying sages would die if they encountered such a disaster. Once one encounters the Yellow Springs tribulation water, it'll be like facing a calamity. Even undying saints would be melted by the Yellow Springs tribulation water. Seems like this human is dead for sure. No matter how powerful he is, he won't be able to survive this calamity. Many of the archaic descendants were frightened out of their wits. Even though they were watching from a distance and didn't actually encounter it, just watching from the side made them feel as if there was a blade on their backs. After all, this was the famous Yellow Springs tribulation water. Even transcendent existences like undying sages would drown in it. Wherever it went, everything would be submerged. The void would melt, and everything would be reduced to nothingness. This Yellow Springs tribulation water came from the depths of the void, penetrating the bodies of living beings and seeping into their souls. It was impossible for even a primordial spirit to escape. This was because the Yellow Springs tribulation water originated from the famous Yellow Springs of hell. It specialized in seizing souls and primordial spirits. Even the souls of gods and demons wouldn't be able to break free after falling into it, let alone mortals. At this moment, the Yellow Springs tribulation water had completely submerged the surrounding 100,000 light years. Almost the entire star region had been submerged in the Yellow Springs tribulation water. One planet after another was melted by the Yellow Springs tribulation water. Even the stars were no exception. Fortunately, this was a unique star region where planet Yinhuang was located. There were no other planets with life apart from planet Yinhuang. Otherwise, it would definitely cause a huge commotion and countless deaths. Master. The Green Ox looked at Xiaoping's situation nervously. He discovered that Xiaoping had been completely submerged in the depths of the Yellow Springs tribulation water. The surrounding void had been corroded into thousands of dimensional black holes. From time to time, the Yellow Springs tribulation water would splash out, producing sizzling sounds as it corroded the starry sky. However, even though the situation was so terrifying, the Green Ox could still see very clearly that Xiaoping had not been melted into dregs by the Yellow Springs tribulation water. On the contrary, Xiaoping's body emitted an ancient luster. Dense, dark, golden runes appeared on the surface of his skin. An ancient and mysterious bloodline surged out from the depths of his body. An ancient divine bird appeared behind him. It was unfathomable, as if it was a supreme ruler. As he soaked in the Yellow Springs tribulation water, the Yellow Springs tribulation water seeped into his pores, cleansing every cell in his body and removing all impurities. It was as if he had taken the power of the Yellow Springs tribulation water for himself. My God, Master is too monstrous. This is the famous Yellow Springs tribulation water. Legend has it that it comes from the Yellow Springs of Hell. Master actually wants to devour it and take it for himself? Isn't he crazy? The Green Ox was dumbfounded. As one of the 10 ancient beasts, the Taotai was said to devour everything. It was very fierce, and there was nothing it didn't eat. However, there was one thing it didn't dare to eat, and that was the Yellow Springs of Hell. Legend had it that the supreme Taotai of the ancient times was too greedy and unscrupulous. It actually went to devour the Yellow Springs River. In the end, it didn't finish devouring the Yellow Springs. Instead, it was stuffed to death. Even its primordial spirit was assimilated into the Yellow Springs and completely melted. But now, its master was even more fierce and arrogant than the Taotai. He was brazenly devouring the Yellow Springs tribulation water. If this wasn't crazy, then what was? But how could the Green Ox know Xiaoping's constitution? He had the bloodline of the Golden Crow of Hell. He was an ancient fiend god born from the depths of the Yellow Springs, the ruler of Hell. To Xiaoping, the Yellow Springs tribulation water was no different from bathwater. Because he had devoured a large amount of the Yellow Springs tribulation water, the Golden Crow of Hell bloodline in his body had undergone a further transformation. All the impurities in his body had been cleansed. Legend has it that any living creature that soaked in the Yellow Spring water, regardless of whether it was an evil person with monstrous sins or a saint who moved the world, will be cleansed into a piece of white paper and become the purest soul. One could imagine the power of the Yellow Springs tribulation water. It could purify all impurities, including souls. To a certain extent, it was a treasure that countless living creatures desired. Please remember this book's original domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 2185. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Xiaoping stayed in the depths of the Yellow Springs calamity water and used his cultivation method to devour it like a whale, constantly devouring large amounts of it. This was supposed to be calamity water that could corrode everything. It was a calamity of the apocalypse, but under the suppression of the Golden Crow of Hell's bloodline, it became supreme holy water that tempered his body and raised his cultivation. 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million Golden Crow of Hell cells. These Golden Crow of Hell cells were all awakening at a crazy rate. He could feel that after devouring a large amount of Yellow Springs calamity water, the Golden Crow of Hell's bloodline deep within his body had undergone a huge transformation. The Yellow Springs calamity water contained the pure source energy of Hell. This was extremely beneficial to his cultivation. After being cleansed by the Yellow Springs calamity water, all the impurities in his body had been eliminated. His skin had also become glass-like, releasing a holy luster, raising his constitution to an unprecedented level of toughness. Even the golden Arhat body of Buddhism couldn't compare to Xiaoping's current glass body. It was close to a perfect body, Moreover, his soul had also been cleansed by the Yellow Springs calamity water. The various killing auras, vengeful spirits, curses, and baleful auras that had entangled his soul had all been eliminated. This made Xia Ping feel like a newborn baby. Even the legendary angels could not compare to him. At this moment, he was the purest human in the universe. If a Buddhist saw Xia Ping like this, they would immediately exclaim that he was a natural-born arhat. If an angel saw this, then Xia Ping would be the holy son of the angel race. Such a soul was unprecedentedly pure, and it could also unleash terrifying power. His body released a holy light. Ordinary people with evil hearts would immediately feel pain when they saw this light. They would prostrate on the ground and repent of their sins. What the hell? What's going on? The baleful crow demon bird in the distance saw this scene and was stunned. Why do I suddenly feel that he's the purest person in the world when I see him like this? Lying to him is an unparalleled sin. Impossible. This bastard human is the most vicious and cunning. Even the demons from the abyss aren't as evil as him. How can he be the purest person in the world? Illusion. This must be an illusion. But something's not right. When I see him like this, I feel like I've seen a Buddha or an angel. I want to prostrate myself and complain about my sins. I ate something on the sly just now. I almost wanted to say it out loud. Strange. This human is too strange. Could it be that not even the Yellow Springs tribulation waters can kill him and even give him so many benefits? Many of the primordial species were dumbfounded. When they saw Xia Ping's appearance, it was as if they could feel the glory of God. They wanted nothing more than to kneel on the ground and beg God to forgive them. Especially the crow demon bird and the fae. They were driven mad. They felt that they didn't hate Xia Ping at all at this moment. Not even envy, jealousy, or hatred. They couldn't understand Xia Ping at all. This situation was too strange. Yes, my energy arts, magical power, and even my martial arts and divine abilities have all changed. Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat as he discovered that his body had undergone a huge change. However, such a change was to be expected. The so-called Yellow Springs represented all living beings. Whether it was humans, demons from the abyss, demons from hell, gods and devils, they were all equal in the Yellow Springs. They were all living beings, all living things in this world. The Yellow Springs tribulation waters contain the will of all living beings. Ever since he cultivated the pure yang, ever-dying incantation and acquired the bloodline of the Golden Crow of Hell, he had been able to form countless divine abilities that could pierce through anything and everything, and were filled with boundless killing intent and fearsome sharpness. However, after devouring the Yellow Springs tribulation water and being cleansed by it, the essence of his martial arts had undergone an earth-shattering change. His magical power and soul had fused with the will of all living beings, and contained the will and ultimate meaning of the hell of mortals and living beings. At this moment, Xia Ping's every move and every single strand of his magic power was all-encompassing, encompassing the entire universe and devouring the world. Everything was in the depths of his magic power, his nascent spirit, and his cells. Boom! All of a sudden, Xia Ping unleashed a fist strike that contained the will of all living beings. His fist energy pierced through the heavens, and his magical power reached the gods, causing all sorts of natural phenomena to appear in the area. Men, women, children, commoners, birds, beasts, demons, devils, angels, Buddhas, and all sorts of other living beings appeared in the starry sky. With merely a single punch, all of the Yellow Springs tribulation water in this expanse of the starry sky was dispersed. It connected the heavens and the earth, and even this expanse of space was shaken to the point that countless cracks appeared on it. It was like glass that crackled. In other words, if this fist strike had struck an immortal sage, his soul would have been shattered, and he would have been severely injured, and then annihilated by the boundless will. Too strong. Xia Ping sighed emotionally. The will of all living beings had fused into his fist technique, and not only had it not destroyed the sharpness of his fist, but had also become even more refined. He punched out soundlessly, exploding out at the critical moment. It was fine if he didn't move, but once he did, it would shake the heavens and earth. In other words, his understanding of martial arts and divine abilities had reached a whole new level. Master is too strong. He's actually training himself in the tribulation, and he's even getting stronger. What a monster! The Green Ox was completely convinced. He was full of admiration. Even his old master could not be compared to such a monster. This was a genius that had never been seen since ancient times. After all, it was extremely difficult for ordinary people to pass the Yellow Springs tribulation waters. Now, his master was using the power of the Yellow Springs tribulation waters to train his body, taking the power for himself and fusing it into the profoundness of his fist technique. This was unimaginable. Xiaoping looked up. When the Yellow Springs tribulation waters quickly receded, the second tribulation came right after. It didn't stop at all. Whoosh, in an instant, boundless flames flew out from the depths of the tribulation wormhole. Thousands of flames, bright red like blood, turned into vermilion birds that screeched at the sky. Their cries seemed to tear the world apart, causing countless cracks to appear in the void. This was the vermilion bird tribulation fire. Without a doubt, this was another terrifying great tribulation. The terrifying flames that came from the vermilion birds were the most terrifying supreme tribulation in the world. They represented an auspiciousness. These flames even contained the characteristics of the vermilion birds. They grew endlessly and regenerated continuously. Once they came into contact with the flesh and blood of living beings, they wouldn't stop until their bodies and souls were completely burned. Even immortal saints couldn't resist the vermilion bird tribulation fire. This was because the immortal saint's characteristic of regenerating continuously was useless before the vermilion bird tribulation fire. Even if they could regenerate continuously, the vermilion bird tribulation fire could incessantly burn them to ashes. There was once an immortal saint who encountered the vermilion bird tribulation fire. Relying on the immortal saint's characteristic, he resisted the vermilion bird tribulation fire for 100 million years, but he still couldn't break free. Burn, regenerate, burn again, regenerate again. It was endless and endless. In the end, the immortal saint couldn't bear the eternal torture and committed suicide. Chapter 2186. So what if he blocked the Yellow Springs calamity water? This time, he definitely won't be able to block the vermilion bird calamity fire. This is a heavenly flame. It won't be extinguished until it burns this human to death. The Fae was extremely excited when it saw the vermilion bird calamity fire. It felt that this despicable human wouldn't be able to block the vermilion bird calamity fire. The other primordial species couldn't help but nod. They felt that this made sense. Everyone knew how terrifying the vermilion bird calamity fire was. Even immortal saints couldn't block it. Rumble, in the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of vermilion bird calamity fire shot over, turning the surrounding thousands of light years into a boundless domain of fire. It seemed like this place was going to be incinerated completely. Xiaoping stood in the center of this domain of fire, not moving at all. The vermilion bird calamity fire seemed to have its own will. It burrowed into his body, into his limbs and meridians, trying to burn his body into ashes. Sun furnace. Xiaoping was fearless. He circulated his martial arts, and a sun furnace appeared in the depths of his dantian. Countless supreme scriptures appeared on it, creating a terrifying suction force. With his body as the center, a terrifying whirlpool formed. Countless vermilion bird calamity fire surged into his body, entering his dantian and the depths of his sun furnace. Walala, in the next second, the sun furnace began to revolve. The enormous vermilion bird calamity fire was instantly refined. Impurities were expelled, leaving behind only pure fire energy that fused into Xiaoping's limbs and meridians. Suddenly, he felt the magic power in his body rise steadily. Even the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body was strengthened because he had obtained the vermilion bird tribulation fire. Strands of the vermilion bird calamity fire's power fused into the depths of his bloodline. Impossible! Seeing this, the Fae couldn't help but scream. This is the famous vermilion bird calamity fire. This bastard actually swallowed it and left nothing behind. What is his body made of? Why can't the vermilion bird calamity fire burn him to death? Let alone the Fae, even the other primordial species couldn't believe their eyes. The famous vermilion bird calamity fire was enough to make even immortal saints tremble in fear. However, this despicable human had actually swallowed the flames whole. If even the vermilion bird tribulation fire couldn't kill this human, then what else could? How could it burn the master to death? Isn't that a joke? Hearing this, the green ox immediately smiled. It knew how terrifying its master's physique was. He could easily tame all kinds of strange flames in the universe. If there was a tribulation of the 4 symbols that was the easiest to overcome, then it would be the vermilion bird tribulation fire. This wasn't a tribulation, but rather a rations for its master. Devour. However, no matter how shocked these primordial remnant beasts were, Xia Ping continued to devour the vermilion bird tribulation fire in an orderly manner, taking the enormous flame energy for himself and fusing it into the depths of his bloodline. An hour later, the energy of the vermilion bird tribulation flame had also completely dissipated. It had been completely devoured by him, leaving not a single drop behind. He felt that the energy in his body had reached an unprecedented level. Don't worry, there's still a 3rd tribulation, the heavenly demon calamity earth. The heavenly demon calamity earth is the most mysterious and unpredictable, even scarier than the vermilion bird calamity fire. This time, we'll definitely be able to destroy this human. The Fae couldn't help but shout. It was still very unwilling. Whoosh, whoosh, at this moment, an even more violent tribulation of the world erupted with Xia Ping's body as the center. Within a range of several tens of thousands of light years, a cloud of black clouds that covered the entire star sector surged out from the depths of the void. This cloud of black clouds was heavy, and each wisp of its aura contained the might of a star. It contained boundless might, and as it surged, it seemed as if millions of stars were crashing down at the same time. Even demons from the abyss would be crushed into horrifying meat paste by the black demonic aura in an instant if they encountered the aura of this black demonic cloud. Not even their corpses would be left. Bang, bang, bang. The heavenly demon calamity earth crashed down from the void, almost drowning everything. The place where it appeared was like the end of the world. Countless stars were forcefully crushed into dust, turning into cosmic dust. Xia Ping was in the depths of this cloud of tribulation. He was bombarded by countless black clouds and crushed fiercely. His body felt as if it was being bombarded by millions of planets, and he suffered endless impacts. Heavens, this is the tribulation from the abyss world, the heavenly demon calamity earth. An archaic descendant was incomparably shocked. This is too terrifying. How can we resist such a calamity? A strand of black luck is like the weight of a star. A cloud of chi bombarding down is like thousands of falling stars. How can we resist this? Even the starry sky mammoth, which has the strongest body of a primordial species, can't withstand it. It will be smashed into meat paste in an instant. Indeed, such a tribulation is like the end of the world, even in the abyss world. Once it appears, countless demons in the abyss will die. Many primordial species could not help but nod. They all admitted that such a tribulation was quite terrifying. It wasn't something ordinary people could withstand. If they were in it, they would definitely be smashed into meat paste in an instant. If a wisp of this aura descended, it would be enough to severely injure a lightning tribulation realm powerhouse. Bullsh asterisk T, terrify my ass. Do you see that monster? He's completely fine. He's still standing in the heavenly demon calamity earth, as if I'm giving him a massage. It's completely useless. The Fae pointed to the front and cursed. It gritted its teeth and was very unwilling to accept it. At this moment, Xia Ping stood in the middle of the heavenly demon calamity earth. He stood with his hands behind his back. Layers of spatial barriers surged out of his body. He circulated the North Sea protection technique as if there was a world protecting his body. Countless heavenly demon calamity, Earth, fell like falling stars. However, when it hit the surface, it only made banging sounds. It was unable to break through his body's defense. Instead, because of the tempering of the heavenly demon calamity Earth, his body became even more perfect. Many primordial species were speechless. They did not know what to say at all. Even a primordial species like the starry sky mammoth could be easily smashed to death. However, in front of this human, it was like a massage. This was too exaggerated. They did not know how to describe such a scene. Don't compare yourself with this monster. There's no way to compare at all. The crow demon bird said helplessly. Hearing this, the Fae became even more furious, but there was nothing it could do. The fourth tribulation is coming. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. His expression turned solemn because the fourth tribulation, which was also the final tribulation, the nine-hell calamity wind, was coming. This was a terrifying storm that came from the nine-hell abyss. Its power was even more terrifying than the previous three tribulations combined. Even the immortal demons would tremble in fear when they encountered the nine-hell calamity wind. They would wish that their parents could give them more legs. Chapter 2187. It's about to begin. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. The tribulation of the four symbols: water, fire, earth, and wind. He had already gone through three great tribulations: Yellow Springs tribulation water, Vermilion bird tribulation fire, and Sky demon tribulation earth. And the final nine-hell tribulation wind was about to descend. These four tribulations represented the four elements that made up the entire universe and represented the fundamental power of the universe. As long as he could withstand the nine serenities tribulation wind, he would be able to advance to the sempiternal realm, transcending mortality and entering sainthood. He would truly be able to transcend the mortal realm and become an ageless existence. Huff, just then, a terrifying hurricane came from the depths of the lightning tribulation wormhole. Originally, there was no wind in the vacuum of the universe, but endless air currents gushed out from the depths of the wormhole, turning everything into a tempest. Such a tempest swept through the 9 heavens and 10 lands, covering the entire star region. Any living being within the range of the tempest would find it hard to escape, and all matter would be melted in the depths of the tempest. The 9-hell tribulation wind was a terrifying air current that came from the 9 hells. It contained the power of the 9 hell and could bring everything in this world down to hell, destroying it completely. Nothing would exist. Too violent. Seeing this, the green ox was shocked. The 9-hell tribulation wind had clearly not started, but the depths of the wormhole were already filled with destructive waves that were incomparably ferocious. One planet after another was blown by the 9-hell tribulation wind, turning into dust in an instant. No matter what it was, nothing could stand against the 9-hell tribulation wind. This was the wind of apocalypse. Originally, there were many primitive planets in this star region and all sorts of meteorites. But when the 9-hell tribulation wind blew past, the starry sky was reduced to nothingness, leaving behind only dust and debris. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, the 9-hell tribulation wind descended, creating countless wind blades. A terrifying black hurricane swept over, bombarding Xiaoping's body in a frenzy. Every hurricane was like a wind blade, bombarding Xiaoping's body as if he was being sliced by 1,000 blades. Dark North Protection Technique. Xiaoping was fearless. He activated the Dark North Protection Technique, and a huge ocean surged out from his body, covering millions of kilometers. Countless Kuan Peng runes appeared, forming the Kuan Peng barrier. This azure barrier could stretch and contract like rubber. It had a terrifying defensive power and could greatly reduce the force of impact. Countless wind blades bombarded down, but it was as if they were bombarding the ocean. It only set off boundless waves, but it didn't cause any damage to the ocean. It can be said that Xiaoping who has advanced to the peak of thunder tribulation, has cultivated the Dark North body protection technique to an unimaginable realm. Every move contains the power of Kuan Pung, offsetting countless attack power. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. Seemingly sensing Xia Ping's situation, the heavenly tribulation was thoroughly enraged. The space-time wormholes were enraged, and the 9 underworlds' tribulation wind blowing from the depths of the dimension became increasingly fierce. In the end, the 9 serenities' tribulation wind transformed into dragons. They were black dragons formed from the 9 serenities' tribulation wind and contained boundless power. Rumble, tens of thousands of terrifying netherworld black dragons charged out from the depths of the wormhole, engulfing and spitting out destructive storms, wanting to destroy all existences that attempted to defy the heavenly tribulation. Damn, that's too scary. When the many primordial species saw this, they were all terrified. The appearance of such netherworld black dragons was like a world-destroying dragon, destroying everything. Wherever they went, living beings would be plunged into misery and suffering. Even if they stayed in the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, they didn't feel safe at all. It was as if the terrifying sound waves would seep into the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers at any time and place. The slightest vibration of such a sound wave was enough to shatter them into a pile of residue and turn them into ashes. We're in danger now. The Green Ox's expression was solemn. He could sense that the most dangerous moment of the 9 serenities' tribulation wind had arrived. If he couldn't block it, he would probably be turned into ashes in an instant. Good timing. Xia Ping opened his eyes, revealing a terrifying cold gleam. He opened his mouth and inhaled. Rumble, the 9 serenities' tribulation wind within a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers was swallowed into his stomach. Even the netherworld black dragons were no exception, immediately entering the depths of the solar furnace. Instantly, the heavens and earth shook. Energy surged, tides surged, and the universe was reversed. Bang, bang, bang. The 9 serenities' tribulation wind within Xia Ping's body clashed unceasingly in the depths of the solar furnace. It was like countless blades slashing out, producing a terrifying destructive force. However, under the suppression of the solar furnace, it was all useless. After a few breaths of time, the 9 serenities' tribulation wind was rapidly devoured and converted into pure energy. F*CK, this monster. It's one thing for the vermilion bird tribulation fire to devour the 9 serenities' tribulation wind earlier. But now, he's even devouring the 9 serenities' tribulation wind? Is he even human? The many primordial species were dumbfounded. Right now, they completely didn't know what they should say. This scene was simply too terrifying. Dying. Xia Ping stepped out and blasted out a palm towards the heaven tribulation wormhole. Instantly, a myriad of transformations appeared, containing boundless transformations. It was like the gigantic palm of a fiend god, creating the world and caressing the universe. The power of this palm exuded boundless killing intent, erupting forth with a terrifying might, as though it possessed the strength and will of all living beings. Boom! The gigantic palm ruthlessly slammed into the center of the tempest, instantly destroying the 9 serenities' tribulation wind. Countless amounts of tribulation wind exploded and dissipated, turning into balls of energy. The starry skies that spanned billions of miles seemed to have collapsed at this moment. Countless tempests exploded, sweeping through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The power of this palm was incomparably tyrannical, containing a supreme attack that could twist the heavens and earth, reversing yin and yang. Devour. Xia Ping was incomparably tyrannical. His hands formed seals, and with his body as the center, a gigantic black vortex appeared. The energy of heaven and earth that was dissipating was instantly devoured by him, entering his body and becoming his own. Boom! At this instant, the entire heaven tribulation wormhole was destroyed. All the energy of the heavenly tribulation dissipated at this moment. Boohoo, the heaven tribulation wormhole, was extremely unwilling to accept this. Whining sounds rang out, as though it wanted to connect to the Nine Serenities hell and guide the even more terrifying Nine Serenities tribulation wind over, wanting to destroy this person who was trying to defy the heavens. Sadly, no matter how unwilling it was, all the energy of the heavenly tribulation had already dissipated and could no longer be condensed. One by one, the heaven tribulation wormholes disappeared, rapidly being filled up by the laws of the universe. The tribulation clouds that had originally enveloped the entire star region also rapidly merged into the depths of the dimension, returning to the origin of the universe. At this moment, Xiaoping also sensed that his soul had been sublimated. Faintly, his soul had jumped out of the river of fate, instantly communicating with the origin of the universe. Boom! In an instant, a gigantic bronze gate appeared in the depths of the void, as though it was the gate of the world. Countless laws condensed, communicating with the origin of the universe. This was the greatest reward that the laws of the universe gave to extraordinary beings who had passed the heavenly tribulation. It was an eternal opportunity,